The one we always go back to is Juon and Pioshik, where having a backup like that can actually be really good. Even Umti recently was like, I actually really like having a sub. I think it's going to be very beneficial for your gameplay.
Yep.
And, we all know the general sometimes needs a little bit of help.
I think the general and Peter are very similar. Because when the vibes are good, they're really good.
Yeah.
But if the vibes suffer, they suffer. And it doesn't quite work. At least, I mean, I haven't seen that many.
All right. Are we really going to do triple BD? Are we going to bet Talia as well? I think they're going to bet Talia as well.
And so do they give away the Kalista first pick or the Gwen?
Doesn't matter. It's BDD.
I think I'd ban Kalista, let the Talia be banned, and then pick Gwen and be like, okay. That's my kind of vibe. Instead, it's Gwen. I don't know about this, because I do think that Kalista first pick is a trap.
Yeah. Well, if they ban Talia here, I think that is what's going to happen. Or Rumble, possibly.
Or Jace. Jace is another big one.
Yeah, teams have prioritized Rumble. I'm not really... okay, well, I don't think they should be one Talia. I think you just pick Jace.
Yeah, I think Jace feels like the more well-rounded choice. Going down the tier list, Kalista is the one that is going to be locked in, and that will happen. I also just feel like that's a trap. We literally saw it in the last game.
Slam Talia Poppy.
Oh, God, that would be just impossible to play into.
Yeah, I'm not going to prioritize the Poppy, which I think is valid, but just this setup is already quite nice. Raptor on a strong pick. One of the premier junglers that isn't permat at the moment. As
Peter's already won on this. Yeah.
Peter did actually have a crazy Nico game.
Wait, did he win on it? He looked good on it. I can't remember whether the outcome was good. Because they've only won one game. And so even if he may have looked... that's the one game that they won.
Yeah.
So
he was crazy.
He has a 10 KDA on the champion. Like, it's looking pretty good. So that is going to be the bottom lane. The Jace is eventually locked in as well. Could be BDDs, could be castings. Still able to flex that one around. And the last pick here for BNK, we'll have to see what it's going to be. Caitlyn would be a good option, I think. But Sion is a consideration.
Does provide a front line here for BNK. I would not be surprised if we want to try and get a counter pick towards the Nico. One of the things that I do like about picks like Nico is that actually countering it is a bit tough because the matchup you're just not as familiar with, right? So even if something that might be good theoretically into it can be a struggle for Kellen, who is not necessarily known for his eclectic champion pool, as we are going to continue. There's like Sejuani, Viego, the cost champions.
I mean, Kellen is known for his Renata, which I think is why the Nico was locked in.
No,
walk it away.
And then they don't have to ban it, right? Like now KT can just basically freeze up a ban, not run the risk of running into that Renata. And again, I think Renata Xin Zhao was also kind of a crazy combo. It's like Lulu Xin Zhao, but then way more murdery.
Yeah, it feels a little bit better. The fact that you get an extra life as Xin just feels a little unfair. But that is going to be a Karma ban. Is it Karma Caitlyn? Do you get rid of both of those? Because that sort of deals with a lot of the early pressure that you'd be worried about. Might be an option here. One final ban from BNK FearX. And it's going to be the Skarner taken away from Cuz.
That or Ashe, right? Because the engage thus far from BNK is a little lackluster.
True.
So with an Ashe ban, even though the matchup is not as lopsided as it once was, you do safeguard yourself there as it's the Skarner ban instead.
I wouldn't mind a Caitlyn ban just because this composition with like a true frontline in the Sion will be able to play the very classic front to back with a long range marksman that does a lot of consistent damage in the late game. Like, so it could certainly work, but the Ashe is still going to be that ban that you were talking about.
And normally what you'd see here, paired with Xin and Talia, would be Kai'Sa, but they might still end up going for that, but obviously you're not going to be super excited picking that into a Kalista lane. As the Rakan comes through here, so they're keeping hidden. I'm wondering, maybe they want to go for something really out there. Something like the Zeri comes to mind. Again, laning matchup is always going to be rough from here on out.
Viego Gragas. That's what I want. I don't know why I want it, but I wanted it.
I can see the Viego because it's one of Cuz's best champions, and already you have the Kalista, so I think you want to try and play for aggression.
Yep.
Their engage is also not the best, so maybe they want to try and find something in the jungle that can engage decently. As that is a champion where Cuz does have he had his license, but he's currently on probation after a performance that wasn't quite what it needed to be. So we will see if he keeps a hold of it. Because if he takes another bad loss on this one, might be time to revoke it, Atlas.
Yeah, I would agree. That being said, there is a lot of poke coming out from KT right now. I think when you've got a Callista, making up for it with a lot of range is a really good idea. And the Lovers duo does make some sense, but you do just play into getting mega outranged.
It's really interesting because I also think that the KT comp can actually... So there is a lot of poke with Jace and Nidalee, but Callista and Silas and even Nico do need to go in.
Oh yeah.
There's also I do find it very funny that Diablo's like, oh, Sion's on my team. I can lock in Sion now. It's fine. There's no way I'll walk into my own team's queue.
Yeah.
It's really fun because I did actually think that was a good Sia game outside of one of the most egregious. I do not know what the enemy champion does. I've seen since what was it, Doran trying to TP out of a snowball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the snowball, was it? It was the circle thingy.
Yeah, like the small snowballs.
Yeah,
like
that snares you.
Not the big one.
Yeah, it was a little bit subpar. Please play Kai'Sa. That's not what's happening here today. And also requesting some buffs for the AD carries. We'll make sure that we ask David Turley about that one. He is, of course, an AD carry player, so maybe he's going to try a little bit extra hard there, but it's probably not going to happen because he's been working there for a while. B&K looking like the better team on paper right now. KT can always win. They can often lose. That's what we've been seeing for the last week and a half. But at any given moment, they might just show up to give the KT fans hope. Hope that is then immediately dashed the week after. But when they win, golly, does it feel good. Let's dive onto the Rift for game one. First, full marks for the Sion skin. Lumberjack Sion, fantastic. Also, Cuz landing his first spear.
You know what I really appreciate about KT as a team and as an organization, really? And they've been committed to this from the very beginning.
What's that?
You know how it's really easy for you to do an activity you enjoy too much? You know, it could be video games, can be other hobbies as well, can be eating, you name it. And then eventually you kind of wear down your dopamine receptors and then it gets really hard to get the same joy of doing the activity.
Yeah, like the all things in moderation.
Yeah, exactly. All things in moderation. KT just ensures that you're always, you're never at the risk of getting too much dopamine.
Yeah, you're never at the risk of having too much winning.
No.
That is so true. All things in moderation, especially winning.
I can't believe that was last year, right? They had the 50-50 win record. At the 0.
Do you know what my favorite thing is? Is that in the World of Warcraft loading screen, they often say all things in moderation. And I saw that every single day of my life.
Yes, known moderation.
Yeah, while I was moderating. Speaking of moderation, we're not using heal in moderation, and Parak is dead, ladies and gentlemen. Diablo may also be in trouble as Peter trying to get that kill back, but it does not work. And the Lovers duo, they just destroy Parak, and he has no way of doing anything. Doesn't flash, doesn't cleanse, didn't have a chance to.
I'm not sure about the cleanse. Atlas says, oh, BDD.
Oh man, that's a flash out from Vikla already.
This truly is KT in a microcosm here, by the way. We have the bot lane just getting taken down and then BDD forcing a flash solo. Yeah. Is it just a Rakan charm? I think it is. And I guess you can cleanse the stun from the Talia E, but you are down a combat summon. This actually ends up being quite close, and they would have, if you had barrier there, would have gotten the kill and might have turned around the play.
Yeah.
Because you can't cleanse the knockup from Rakan, so it's the charm. I guess it's the Feather recall, but if you get hit by that, I feel like the damage alone is already going to kind of cook you. And then the other ones are knockups as well.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of cleanse usefulness here from Parak. But that means that he'll have access to his cleanse a lot for the quickness.
Well, I think it's the rocks, the recall, and...
Oh yeah, the rocks is a big one. So maybe that's what he feels like he needs the cleanse for the rocks or something. Now it's odd. Still, Parak certainly struggling. BDD going to miss those chains and is then going to get punished for it, as we can see here.
I mean, if Vikla was a little bit earlier on his Eater, BDD just kind of dies.
Yeah.
So I think BDD actually should be pretty happy with how that went. Again, Silas is one of the champions that is just going to be naturally at low health. because the way his trading works is Cuz is just going to ensure that his mid laner gets to play the video game. Does spot Raptor here.
Yep. Also ensures that he can get himself... Okay. Chain's going to connect. He does get the buffer there as the wind becomes lightning and BDD becomes flashing. Cuz going to come in just to try and break up the fight.
Must not have seen him. I thought the trap vision was enough, but looks like that wasn't the case because the way BDD was playing, he definitely wasn't aware. Cuz will get the double scuttle, but not having flash is a big deal with something like the Xin Zhao. Yeah. Always having an opportunity to make your life very, very difficult.
Well, BDD coming on over. Raptor is still here, but Vikler is still dead. First blood goes over to BDD. And there is some assist gold that helps even out the trades.
You know what that is, Atlas?
Vikler was thirsty.
That is the that's the play of a oh, Padak.
Yeah, Padak is flashing this time around, but I just don't know whether it's going to be enough as Peter doing what he can to try and protect his AD carry, but once again, Diablo does not go down nearly low enough. And maybe I take back everything that I said about Dr. Wei.
Yeah, this is crazy. You get the what is considered the strongest AD carry on the patch, and I'm really starting to think that Kalista is actually, in fact, bait. Yeah. With the priority that it has right now. No, what I was saying is BDD, that is a man. That play right there, even when you know the enemy jungler might be there because you know they're still in the area and they don't have camps to farm because Cuz went double scuttle. That's the play of a man that has lost too many games in a row. He will ensure that this one is a win.
Oh, the flash over the snare. That's what you need to do.
He has a call. Wait.
Yeah.
Diablo, he just clicked his cookie. He just outplayed Padak and Peter and then manually clicked his cookie. What do you mean?
Oh, that's spectacular. Oh, so good.
Oh, Diablo.
It's like
with the call.
It's like watching like someone win in World of Warcraft Arena, but they're clicking all of their buttons on the. Oh my god!
When you do like you have a duel and it's like it's a mage versus rogue and it's crazy close,
yeah.
And then later you realize that like they're using controller and you're like, how does that even work?
This doesn't make sense.
How did I almost lose?
Well, I mean, I think that we're asking a few of those questions now as we do have another pause. We had a bit of a producer swap, and that producer has now learnt that Chronicler has not watched Arcane Season 2. And so they have once again issued a pause because Chronicler was only able to watch the first 10 minutes of, by accident, Episode 2 of Season 1 of Arcane.
That was the funniest part.
Because I misclicked when I went into...
Yeah, and I was like, I guess this is an extended flashback. And also, we were still on air, so I did kind of have to...
Well, casting's almost dead. We are back in, and that was a much faster pause.
I do love that Diablo, even without flash, because he used it in the bot lane play, he's just full sending it.
Oh yeah.
There's no relaxation. There's no slowing it down. And for Padak, this is really rough. Kalista is one of those picks where if you do start falling behind, it becomes really hard to have even a little bit of an impact. That is the real Peter that got caught there.
Yeah. I was like, wow, that clone is really doing well. Peter struggling a little bit. As we can see, casting set up once again in this top lane as it's Kalista versus Sion in the bottom side of the map. As To The Skies comes on forward, Peter looks for a little bit more as Diablo gonna have to get out of there. The heal was invested by Kellen as Cuz is dashing around. I don't know whether pouncing back in there was a good idea, but he creates the distance. Peter comes in as well, and now Raptor just wanted to get out, did manage to get one of the grubs and flashes over the wall to safety. As Cuz will be able to continue exerting his pressure as, all right, the Sion leaves the station as Padak.
No, not again, not again, not again!
Solo killed by a Sion. It would be absolute travesty as the chains are going to connect. BDD has decided that he's winning this game. 100%. And casting could be in trouble here, but before he goes down, he grabs the double. And BDD grabbing himself plates at the same time. Padak able to pick up some minions here as well. And yeah, there is such a clear dichotomy on the Rift right now.
I'm pretty sure it's BDD because casting had already died. It's BDD that went demolish, as if you needed more of a sign that this man is committed to winning his lane and he'll win any lane that he needs to. As casting, actually, I think pretty nicely done there by
recognized
Kellen.
Very quickly that
he knew he was that. Nicely done by Kellen to get the knock up at the very least. And casting could have flashed that, but that was a really necessary play because obviously bot lane a bit of a disaster. But now this Jace is becoming a big problem here, and Xayah does get outranged. That is still a fact by Nidalee and Jace.
Yes, and it was always a little bit of an awkward Xayah angle But one thing that we're learning once again, we haven't seen very much of just the Lovers duo together. Like, we've seen a lot of Rakan, a lot of Xayah, but we haven't seen them together quite that often. And we're seeing exactly how deadly they still are as far as that duo is concerned, even early on in the game. Because this was often where they were picked as well. Like, in the early stages, they did certainly flourish. But the fact that you get the extra effects on a few of the buttons certainly feels good. Adds to the DPS of the lane, as once again, 2v2s are ensuing, and you could imagine that KT are going to be putting on a fair bit of respect here, as, okay, never mind. Parak now in trouble, gets knocked up one more time, but the Blade Caller not quite going to work out. This time, the root connected, but the Fate's Call was still invested, and BNK getting what they needed to, as that zoom-in was scary. I really thought Vikla was just dead. But he walled nothing. Maybe walled back to lane was his strategy. So that's on cooldown, moving into what could be a dragon fight coming up. As Peter making his way in, this melee minion so scary, and he lands the root. The chains are going to connect, and that gets the flash out of Vikla as clear. The unstoppable onslaught is indeed unstoppable, but Casting wants to kill him, not stop him.
The auspicious minion coming out of nowhere gets the flash from Vikla, and
I think
Casting.
it's a suspicious minion.
Isn't auspicious when it's like not? Because it's not suspicious at all. It's a minion. It's just walking around on the rift.
Like an ostentatious minion.
Yeah. It's just
like
there.
that.
It's fine. I don't have to worry about him.
It's fair enough. It's fair enough.
Which is why Vikla, you know, he held his flash until he needed to.
Very
definitely good that he used it, or he would have died. And that also means BDD much more likely to be able to generate pressure in this lane. Roa is also going to be done for him, but happy to see Casting actually utilize his pressure. The lead that he has should be pushed as far as possible, get as many plates as you can, maintain laning pressure, because Clear obviously is going to be a big problem. Who actually kills Sign in the late game on the KT team? Not really anyone.
Yeah, that's a scary one. Maybe it's Cuz.
So part of
Leandri's.
Part of can if he wasn't really far behind, but he is. But if you keep the Sign extremely far down, I think that might still be okay. As maybe it was Casting that went to demolish. I feel like BDD probably, because he is playing into a ranged matchup, probably just went to resolve classics, but who knows? I feel like BDD, with how he's playing right now, is actually trying to win 3 lanes at once. So
yes, and that has been his playstyle throughout the season thus far.
Well, he hasn't really been able to do that.
No, he's been trying to play to it.
Yeah.
And right now, they're ahead by 500 gold. That's certainly a positive. I mean, the bottom side of the map is still a bit of a disaster here, as Diablo and Kellen doing a really good job. But with the Drake being taken by KT, another round of grubs going to be picked up as well. 5 grubs, definitely different to 6. So if KT can get that, they're going to be feeling real good about the prospect of their game. Or maybe they won't, because it's all kind of opposite day for KT in general.
I have an observation to make, Atlas.
What's that?
This game so far, it's pretty clean.
Oh, God. Why did you have to say it?
Well, because I want to give credit where credit is due. I feel like both these teams thus far have played, you know, it feels like outside of the bot lane where I do think Parak maybe messing up a little bit too much, I've actually been, yeah, it's been good so far.
Well, I mean, if you wanted chaos, that's exactly the thing that you should have said. And that's maybe exactly what we're going to get.
Oh, we're going to get a fight for sure.
A third grub was picked up here by Cuz. He's now just fishing to see whether Raptor is going to come on over and try and take these. And that spear just barely dodged out of the way of by the Xin Zhao. As Casting and Clear still towards the bottom side. The Unstoppable Onslaught can theoretically get Clear over if he does want to join a fight. As BDD comes in, steals away the quickness, but he's thrown out pretty immediately. Both quicknesses almost ran into each other. Oh, that would have been way too charming. Pop Blossom connecting onto 2 as Vikla is the one that's in trouble. Parak dancing around the fight. The spear is going to hit, but not do enough damage. As now they're just, oh, never mind, Cuz, have your license back. It's in the mail, don't you worry, it's okay, you feel free to drive. Feel free to drive, you can drive without it. None of the police are gonna pull you over. Absolutely beautifully done.
Kellen, that was your moment. That was your heart will go on. I'll catch this one for you. I got you, buddy. Moment.
He's not playing Alistair, so it doesn't fit with the original heart will go on moment.
How many people do you think know that reference? But man, that would have been big. Instead, it's a kill for Cuz, and the grub fight was already going in favor. BDD crucially clipped Diablo, because otherwise that fight could have actually been a little bit rough. as we have both quicknesses, and I think both BD and Callum are like, I'm not sure what happened. I don't know if I want this. But Diablo actually getting chunked here is a big deal. Vikla getting taken as low as he did. And then right here.
Oh, cuz. Just beautiful.
달려 천천히 천천히
And
천천히.
have a look at it from his perspective as well, telling him to slow down, slow down.
해줄게.
And he's like, Q, got him.
잡고.
Whoa.
천천히 천천히.
You know what I do love? Is despite how the game has been going for him thus far, is Peter, the classic.
Yeah.
A little bit of a mid-wave spooky minion out of nowhere.
I mean, the bottom lane it was bad,
So,
right? But
yes.
Peter is really good at Nico.
He is, but what I wanted to highlight is that I love that Paddock was at that wall, ready to flash over. He's like,
Oh, yeah.
Youngs, if the call was made, I will not hesitate.
Maybe that's why Cuz was just yelling, slow down, that entire fight. As they do make it to 5 grubs as well. And so that means that they've got a couple out of a few of these objective feats of strength. There's only the first turret one that needs to be considered. BNK already taking the one of Warfare.
We're having some fun with it. Do know that the BNK composition will outscale pretty hard. As when it comes to the 5v5, it's really, like the Xin Zhao is kind of whatever, but the rest of the team is really hard to match. The side laning, though, I think does remain a really powerful tool, though, for KT. And their ability to get a big wombo combo with particularly the Sylas as well as the Nico does remain in place. But Taliyah in particular, I think, just poses such a big problem if you need to approach head-on. So they can't really lose map control. So the fact that they're able to now extend the gold lead is a really big deal.
BDD also being able to grab that first turret and also gets the solo money as well. That is a big payout, means 750 gold in advantage for him. The enemy red buff now just being camped by the bottom lane and Raptor. As Cuz comes on over, doesn't know that his red buff has been started off just yet. When becomes lightning comes in, and Cuz just takes his red because it's his, and that makes some sense. Peter has shapes himself, and it was a bit of a face-off.
2 Nidalees?
Yeah, it was like, what does it mean?
I don't think we're meant to know.
Did we ever find out what double rainbow meant?
No.
I think
It's
it
like
means
double
extra refraction
It's like
of light.
double Shen, you know, it's one of the big mysteries of life.
Yeah, it's true. Double Z was another
How
one.
many times is Peter going to make this exact same play? And like, this one didn't work, but a lot of them have.
Well, maybe until it doesn't work. Or maybe until the end of the game. You never know.
One can only hope.
He's not going to be able to make it in game 2 because this is Fearless. All right, Weaver's Wall going to come on down as Paddock walks over to the other side. Peter may not be as lucky, but does have a Fate's Call, so never mind.
They need to invest the heal, ultimate as well, but you'll take that because look at the map state right now. Someone needs to go answer casting or he will eviscerate that top lane turret.
Yeah.
Vikla is on his way, but the 1v1 right now, you have a fed Jace and a tier and 1-stack Roa on Taliyah. So I don't think BDD is going to be, or Vikla rather, is going to be feeling too confident. BDD very confident, approaching a second item.
Yep. We also have casting with the Ghostblade first item, which actually, for me, makes the side laning feel even safer, right?
Yep.
You have that burst of speed in order to get out of dodge if you do get yourself into any trouble. And so he'll be able to relentlessly do this. And I think playing for the split push, playing for the side lane, is a great win condition for KT to look for. As they do have a 2,000 gold lead, they will have a monopoly on the Dragons as well, as this one does go down. Cuz has his license, and it's a Chemtech Drake. Ox is on the desk right now, and we can confirm that he is asleep.
Where's the camp?
Yeah, we need to know.
Where is he?
Where are you, Ox?
Ox sausage.
Yeah, I'm gonna need that empty couch cam, as I guarantee that's what it is. Because this is a Chemtech Soul, and that just shows a dropping of the ball.
That's not okay. You know, I get a lot of...
What? See? See what I'm saying?
I don't know what that meant. I do know what the empty couch meant. I do not know what that meant. Because just a misclick, because...
No, it gets the thumbs up, because it's provocative.
Well,
It gets the people going.
Well, it's not even like normally, if this was like Diablo at half health, you're like, oh, he tried to go for a play, but it's full health science, so he did not. Just a misclick. BDD.
I think he just wanted to put some fear in him. As he did manage to hijack the ulti. Maybe that it really, really meant a lot for BDD to get an unstoppable onslaught for himself.
and he just flashed out of pure joy.
Yeah.
Does have TP available.
It was
and
like
KT starting up the fight. The poke, again, I think for them is looking good. They also have a decent teleport ward above the pit here. Yeah. There we go. Just, they can play this slow. Just keep fishing for these. Now,
and while they do it, they have BDD with teleport in a side lane.
Ooh, the engage can be dangerous though. BNK is pretty solid if they can get Clear or Kellen into this back line. But I think KT has to start this up.
BNK have just decided that they're not going to be able to fight it. Might be that Clear could be the one in trouble, but there is vision up here, but there is no turret, and he doesn't really look like he's reacting to this. The spear going to connect once again, the empowered pounce going to come through. He gets booped out of the queue, and Clear now going to try and turn it.
Despair.
Yeah, thinking that this is going to be an opportunity. However, there is another Nidalee coming up, which I think might be a Nico. And so 3v2 not going to be the thing. Vikla down towards the bottom side, fighting against BDD, who decided he didn't want Flash. As Raptor's just going in. Okay, looking for Peter, seeing whether he can get something done as in goes Kellen, but misses the grand entrance completely. And out goes the Nidalee with the disengage cone. And now Casting's coming down, but he's sandwiched. Pop Blossom only onto one as Kellen not going to get CC'd, and now BDD's teleported in. Raptor's going to die as Vikla comes on over. And it is going to be a dead Kalista on the back end, but he was already so incredibly low. Another quickness from BDD, and he's going to be able to stop the Q, but it does not matter. He's just right in amongst all of BNK and dies.
Oh, we were talking about, but that was a colossal mistake from BDD. Just ran into the Talia. Ian just kind of died. Imagine if he had Flash.
It would have been way worse if he had Flash. He would have flashed in way further.
Oh.
So glad he didn't have the Flash. That could have been way worse.
Okay, that's not the takeaway from this, Atlas.
That's my takeaway from this. Okay, let's have a look at the replay and have a look at what Flash would have done to really make the situation worse for KT.
This initial situation is a lot of investment. Honestly, the game-saving moment is right here, as Raptor doesn't get CC, doesn't get hit by Peter because of the knockback. Actually, really nicely done by him. Still ends up going down, but then here BDD has one of two choices. Go on Diablo and Vikla, or go on to Khaled. He gets the ultimate, but then dashes in with the quickness into the rocks. They win this if they play it slow. Like, casting is still very healthy.
And
BDD
actually,
has
he had have flashed into the rocks. Might have been okay.
That's my point. If he flashes out of... that is a rough one. And it's not even the end of the world, right? Like, the gold lead stayed basically the same, but...
It's so sad, because my joke was entirely wrong. Because it would have been way better if he had Flash.
Oh, you mean as in, like, the play would have been salvageable?
Yeah, kind of. Like, I mean, he wouldn't have got stunned as he flashes it.
Yes.
Right?
And then he can go around.
And then he runs. He runs already quicker because he's got quickness.
And then they would have won the fight.
Yeah.
But for BNK, means a small victory. And Diablo is becoming a bigger problem. The second item done now, and that is also the biggest individual gold lead that we do have.
And isn't that what System of a Down coined when they made the song Down with the Quickness? Flash is up, got to get down with the quickness. That's the lyric.
I think so. Yeah.
But Flash was down.
Well, it makes sense, right? Because they also have the other song about what it is like to be a League of Legends player in solo queue, Toxicity.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah. I always thought it was.
Maybe that was the reference.
I thought they were ahead of their time, that they did a concept album about League before League was.
It was
there.
It was pretty impressive.
It's cool.
I mean, System of a Down. We knew that they were lyrical geniuses, but it's just. You learn new things every day. As now, Kellen, Diablo, and Raptor all sieging this outer turret in the mid lane. KT, not a lot of options. And yeah, Otacon is just being taken.
So my call is that they knew that this was happening, but given the vision control that's towards the top left of the map, they just didn't think they could get anything. So in that light, getting mid lane turret does make sense. This is also...
Maybe they just have no idea that this is just being taken.
They definitely do.
Got it.
And they get the... I think that's a fine trade.
Well, we are going gardening here.
Because, so for BNK, I think most of the decisions, I don't think they'd necessarily outscale guaranteed, right? Like there's comps where you, because the range advantage I think is still there for KT, as long as BNK are hesitant on an engage or something of the sorts. So I think going for the cross map when you're not 100% sure you can take the fight is honestly fine. You want to have a second item for Vikla, maybe a third item for Diablo. Once we hit Diablo's third though, I do want to see BNK actually go in a little bit more aggressive.
46
That's
petals.
A lot, yeah. So we have a level lead in every single role of a full level, which is a pretty big deal.
Yeah. And Unstoppable Onslaught's going to be walked around here by Casting, who's running real quick.
Ooh.
And able to get over towards Raptor, who does throw down the ulti. Cuz is going to make his way in to see whether he can get there in time. He gets the heal. The Primal Surge comes in, and now there's a Nico as well. Clear. Can he get out? I don't think so. He's still going to flash and has a turret still up. So never mind, he's going to survive. But Casting was supposed to die.
Casting. That's another showcase why movement speed is the best stat in League of Legends, by the way.
Absolutely is.
My God, between the gate as well as the Ghost Blade, he was zooming around.
I thought he had Phase Rush, and then I had to remember, I was the one that talked about the Ghost Blade. The value was massive.
Well, he also has Swifties, so like...
All right, so he's running real quick.
Yeah, but it ended up saving his life. Nicely done there, good evade on the gank. Unfortunately for them, again, Sign is really hard to kill, so they don't quite have the damage. As we now have no flash for clear. I do think the flash for Casting is more valuable as
Kellen is quicknessing.
No
they do get the knock up onto Casting, but he boops Raptor away.
BDD?
Is that enough? That's the question. Is BDD? The rocks are on cooldown. The rocks are on cooldown. They take down the Jesus. Peter finds the Pot Blossom to end all Pot Blossoms, and then is saved by Puddock. Still, KT need to find another angle. They're wrapping around from every single other one. But can they actually get in there? Can they start the fight that they're looking for? But they're playing with their range so beautifully. Puddock trying to stay alive, and he turns it onto Raptor. Vikla's going to go down. BDD is so incredibly low, but Diablo is untouched in the back line. 3 versus 3 now is the result, but Cuz is still there with all that long-range damage. And they are moving now towards KT's base. This ward here is so incredibly valuable as Cuz. He does spot it out. And now Clear could be in trouble. Puddock free hitting, not going to get knocked up, and he is just dead. The Zombie Scion is now going to be the result. And KT, when they do play it slow, it works. And Diablo,
as we say that,
in a bit of trouble.
They're going to keep going.
Yeah, Kellen doesn't have the quickness, but he is still pretty scary. There's the pounce forward, and Cuz still looking for more. Raptor running real quick, and we don't find the route from Peter. Now back away, KT, please. And they do. This is exactly the bloodbath mess that I was expecting this series to be, and
so
I love
happy.
it, Chronicle.
Yeah! We were waiting for this!
Owie!
Don't hit me with the owie, man!
Sorry, it was a bit of a non sequitur owie. It should have been like an in-sequence owie.
All right, let's take a look at this. I actually like this engage here. The idea behind this engage is great. They go on Casting. I do wish that they'd actually, I feel like they could have fully committed to killing him immediately, because the fact that they don't is what makes this messy. A beautiful Pot Blossom forces out the ult from Diablo, which is why from here on out, BNK actually need to play it pretty respectfully and just try and get Diablo out. I do, however, also think that they could have just left here. Yeah. This is the point where like you can just leave.
Oh, and BDD actually chained Clear. Did manage to hit the Chain Lash, but it was a bit awkward.
Yeah, and then they feel relatively confident. Obviously, in the whole extended play, again, BNK could have left, didn't, which ended up being pretty detrimental. It's not the end of the world. Gold lead is still around that 2.5K, 3K mark. And we do actually see how hard Clear is to kill, unless he gets focused solely. His Casting, that's some damage numbers, Atlas.
It really is. Puddock also much higher numbers than I was expecting, as that is a nice route, but it's on to Casting. In goes BDD as Raptor now having to deal with BDD with his own ultimate. Puddock is bouncing around the back of the fight, but Diablo once again untouched. Peter in a bit of trouble, but it's Raptor that's on the floor, and Diablo pulls back the feathers, but there's no follow-up. Puddock is a psychopath just dashing forward, and they take down Clear first. Puddock is in, then he's out, then he's back in again. He's got his eye.
Glanced the rocks! He did it!
Oh, that was gorgeous! And yeah, I don't know what happened to the guy at level 1. We're face checking.
KT.
The teleport to try and get one of them out of there. Yeah,
with your
Vickler is out.
recall!
And
No
the
way.
recall.
No way. No
They're going to
way.
get interrupted to the skies, ladies and gentlemen. And Diablo goes down. It's a double for Casting. I really thought they were going to get out there. That would have been exactly B&K versus KT energy. Instead, KT manages to take down the entire bottom lane, and they're on Baron. Let's get into the replay, Chronicler. Take me through it.
So everything gets thrown in the BDD, but he has a Zinzo ult. So he just walks it up, then Peter goes in, gets the ultimate out of Diablo, and this fight position is so awkward for BNK, and then this play from Puddock right here. That's fine. I can flash out of the Cyan Q, then hop out of the W, and cleanse those rocks.
And you can see exactly why he moved to the side, because Vikla wasn't on screen. And he flashes forward, he's like, oh crap, there's a Talia. I gotta get out of here. And he does do so, and he cleanses the rocks like you say, and that is the biggest thing. Oh, this is such a KT versus BNK, isn't it?
No. Oh, this is perfect.
Absolutely peak. As KT, they pick up the Baron, they also pick themselves up Soul Point. And they're gonna look to utilize their composition that just works so well. As soon as you pick up Baron, a 1-3-1 is absolutely deadly. And they're getting to work now. Teleport to come back for BDD. Does have his Zhonya's now completed. 3 items is done. Riftmaker as well was completed in the interim. That is pretty scary as Kellen looking for a bit of an angle here as the wrong Peter is going to frustrate him. But these spears, every time they land, are so scary.
The one person that needs to be careful is casting, because there's a lot of Zhonyas for the enemy team, or for the rest of the team. Paddock should be in the back line anyway, and Peter obviously can be pulled back in. But there is still a lot of engage power on BNK. As long as KT respect that, I think they're cruising toward a victory here.
Yeah, that's what it's looking like as the poke is starting to come in as Clear. He goes for a bit of an engage as Raptor boops half of the team off the wall. As Peter, it's a great pop. Blossom Kellen going to be the first one to go down. Raptor also dead. BDD, he gets caught by the feathers, but there's no follow-up. And Clear's a tank, but it doesn't even seem to matter. The Featherstorm is decent as BDD flashes forward to look for Clear, and down goes Diablo. Peter, you don't have any damage. And so unfortunately, you're not going to be killing Clear here, but KT will be able to find the team fight.
He's zoning!
Yeah, there was some gorgeous zoning as well. And look, he didn't die, so it's obviously flawless. 15-8 the kill score here in favor of KT, and I don't think we're going to see a Chemtech Soul this game as the first inhibitor goes down, and KT are looking to put the first nail in their second game win of the season and knock BNK down a peg or two as BDD goes in. Man, it's good to see him rewarded for a phenomenal early game on this Silas, rewarded by dying next to these dead Nexus turrets of his enemy. He realizes now, finally, he can rest as KT picks up a win.
Was it clean? No. Did we expect it to be clean?
No,
absolutely not.
Do we expect KT to win the series? Probably not.
Still no idea what's going to happen there. But Cuz, no longer on probation, keeps his Nidalee card. Great job, very well done. And BDD, as always, you know, in any KT
He
game,
gave them a flash because he felt sorry for them.
Yeah, I don't think that's what happened. I think he just misclicked it. But that's fine. Had a great performance. But for me, I keep going back to Peter. Playing a deathless Nico game is pretty hard. For BNK, I think there are a lot of things that are pretty easy to fix there, in particularly the setup around those objectives.
Yep.
And the team fights, I actually liked their restraint initially and thought maybe pulled the trigger just a little bit too quickly.
The fact that Paddock did more damage than anyone on BNK just is really weird, because they really put down this bottom lane so hard in the early game.
Peter did almost as much damage as everyone on BNK.
That's a really good point. that is probably the bigger takeaway.
I mean, isn't it?
So Peter is 100% of KT's wins this season is because of Peter's Nico.
Might be time to ban it.
There we go. Well, you don't need to, because this is Fearless. We're going to go into game number 2 very, very soon. It is going to be a short break. Then the Space is going to break that one down. It's going to be a joyous occasion watching that one, and then we'll get into game 2. We'll see you there.
끝내보자.
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 탈리아인 거 인지하고. 탈리아 노플이야. 그냥 물면 돼.
확인. 나 먹을게, 꿀. 나 먹을게.
탈리아 노플이래. 나 투냐 있어. 나한테 빨리 줘.
탈리아가
이거
잡는 게 나을 때.
달려 높여,
타워 개빨라 형.
달려 높여, 천천히.
봐줘.
탈리아 노플이야. 나 뒤로 가볼게.
타워.
나오나 천천히 먹게.
탈리아.
나 천천히 봐야 돼. 천천히 봐야 돼.
천천히. 타워부터 할게, 우리.
타워 깨운다.
칠래? 오케이.
잘 잡자. 나이스.
Canadians like
Yeah.
Azale.
It's all right.
I'm pretty
G-Sun's
sure they
checking.
do.
It's fine. I know
Like
you're useless.
Raz.
It's
Oh no, sorry, Raz is American. Emily Rand is Canadian. I always get those two mixed up.
Oh,
as,
the
we,
beautiful bird.
we get into the next game. As
Yeah, they
it
use
is
kilometers. There you go.
kilometers. Well, good for them.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, well, so do we.
Yeah, well, we all like that. Outside of the people that use the imperial measurement system, which just makes things harder. But I don't want to get into that debate. There are other debates that I'm very happy to get into. That's one that I do not want. As Corki and Yone going to be banned away. I don't know about the Corki ban. I think Corki is kind of bad. But the Vi and the Gwen are also going to be taken off the board.
Azir ban? Azir ban? Question mark? I'm kind of feeling it. Don't think we can give that one to BDD. They might also just first pick it, because Azir is notoriously hard to punish. One of his counters, or two of his counters actually, are already out. We see the Talia picked a lot into it. We see the Silas picked a good amount into it. Now, if we end up getting a BDD Akali, I'm not one to complain, but the Rumble is just going to be the takeaway. I'm leaning towards a very early Azir then here. B1 Azir for BNK makes a ton of sense. I don't think giving BDD his best champion is a good idea. I think this man has a lot of...
I think Vikla first picks it.
This man has a lot of pent-up anger and aggression, clearly. So don't let him have the pigeon. And B&K know this, you know. So they take it away. You love to see it.
And I think that this is a perfect Diana Yasuo angle. Because you can flex the Diana now. Because it's a top laner.
I know you don't actually believe this, Atlas.
How dare you make
I
assumptions
know.
on what I believe?
Look me in the eye right now and tell me that you're being serious.
I'm
don't
being
wanna see
kind of
any
serious. If I
giggles.
do see it, I'd be happy. Just don't know whether that would lead to KT winning. Varus was left up. What the heck? Okay, well, Parak is going to get, by far, his best champion ever.
Yes, he is narratively getting countered here, though, by the Azir. That's something to be very aware of, you know.
Wait, what are you talking about? Varus is a known counter to Azir.
What is one of the most iconic League of Legends plays of all time?
Right, no, but that's not, like, lane for lane. Because actually, before that even happened, Varus was considered a lane counter to the Azir.
No, I know.
Season
I
4.
remember that. I'm
Yeah.
saying that's why I said a narrative counter.
Yeah, it is. But that's Ruler and Faker. That's very different. They're not here.
They are not. I wasn't aware of that. Thank you, Atlas.
Yep.
Very important.
And the
distinction.
first time it happened, and actually that was, no, never mind, it doesn't actually work. Because Faker was playing Karma the first
Karma
time.
versus, yeah.
So-
It's fine. Varus is involved. We're doing narrative hits that are completely irrelevant. It's an LCK game.
Victor
Leona-
is being played by Cuz.
Yeah, okay, now you're just getting too silly, okay? I wanted to talk about the...
Whoa, I mention an Arcane character and you just start calling it silly.
Okay, we are not talking about Arcane again. We had this conversation in series number 1. We don't need to have it again. Leona
Right.
gets picked up here for Peter. Sorry, oh my god. Alistair gets picked up for Peter, Leona, and Ezreal for Kellen and Diablo here. Definitely.
It worked too well. It worked way too well.
Oh.
I think the priority on the Alistair is warranted, but also very curious, because the Sejuani that they were hovering is by far the higher priority pick.
That's bad. It's bad.
But yeah, now it has to be banned. But the Alistair for Peter was amazing, even though they lost the first time he picked it up. So I'm actually, I'm very happy that they prioritized it this highly. Because also you kind of dodge lane because Varus is just pretty good.
So we've been Nocturne Poppy for KT roster.
Yeah.
Poppy might be a maybe. I don't know if they expect Raptor to play it. I just think Poppy always goes really hard when paired with Azir. Also think if you're playing a stationary AD carry or an Alistair, it's not fun to play into. But they're going to go for Skarner, which obviously is a lot more meta at the moment. The continued respect being paid to Raptor here, who most likely is going to be looking for an AD pick.
Yeah. I'm intrigued as to what the final ban is going to be here. Maybe looking for another Cuz option to take away. Maybe a Wukong. to be removed. Doesn't mean that the jungle pool is going to be very thin, but instead it's going to be Ambessa for casting.
I'm expecting a Cuz pick up here. Jungler's not quite as susceptible to getting hard countered in their matchup. And that's, I knew this was coming. I don't love it. It's the Cuz Viego. It is one of his comfort picks. It just, the 2v2 of Victor Viego, outside of the cute alliteration, does not spark joy.
Yeah.
Because they don't really work that well together. Viego, Varus is fine. There's a lot of burst. They both, Viego has hard resets. Even Varus has the soft resets right with his passive. So it's still quite nice. As I think this makes sense in the matchup. I just think Zyra is not that good. I also don't like it as a 2v2. But it does mean that your comp is very hard to engage onto, which would be a problem if not for the fact that we're most likely going to have Victor and Valady Varus. As this would route on the comp very well. Like,
yeah,
BNK, credit where credit is due. I think their drafts have been very solid.
Poppy top.
What is casting going to play here?
That's less fun than Poppy top, but it would make a bit of sense. Fiora.
Oh.
We saw Fiora win. The Lord managed to take names on the Fiora, as that's Kale.
Yes, yeah, do that. Okay. That's fun.
Yep.
Casting, we trust you.
Come on,
Peter. Really good get. No.
Oh, come on. No one likes enough.
No.
Nah.
Well, I guess it's fine. It's definitely a lot safer.
Yep, and it makes the most sense, but it's way less interesting. It could have been Fiora or Kale.
You know what this is actually good for? Is the setup for a third game.
True. That being said, I think that, you know, if the Kale was picked, that would have been better setup for a third game. We would have got there much quicker.
That is true.
Unless we didn't, in which case it would have been very fun to see a Kale win. But I think the last time I saw that, it was Zeus just sort of styling.
Yeah, I'm looking at these comps. KT are going to have to snowball early on. I think if you go to late game and 5v5s with this composition, I think you're really going to struggle. I think BNK have a very nice front to back with great varied
some KT
damage.
Alumni just walking away together as well. Rio and Score. Very cool.
Love that.
Yeah.
Hey, there's the roller coaster. Oh, we're going up?
Yeah, and they got to win. They've got to win that. Yeah, they're trying to make sure that it's going up the right direction. But what they've done actually is that they've broken the tracks. And in fact, broken the cart in half as well, which is way more on theme. So obviously, KT fans that know the narrative.
Which is all of them, because they're KT fans. So they have willfully opted into this.
Yep. And I do, like you were saying, I also really like the BNK Furex composition that they've put together. Of course, Cuz, great at Viego, but I don't know whether the Victor's going to have the same impact for BDD this game. Hopefully it's 3 games.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
Oh, KT fans out in force today.
There is always that undertone.
Oh, yeah.
Please, KT.
It's manic. There is an extra level of mania in the KT fan chant.
It's just perfect.
It is. It really is. Even if he's on the bench, it absolutely still is. Vikla just positioned against BDD. This is one of like the oldest matchups of all time, and it's still here, still present in the meta. The Victor versus Azir. As all right, Peter out of the pen.
It would have been Corki if not for the Corki ban, I'm sure.
Yes, that's obviously why the Corki ban came in. Stop BDD from hard countering the Azir with the Corki. I do think that the Victor does fine in the matchup, but of course, every time the shuffle comes in, you have to use your flash.
Yeah. That's always how it goes. As Raptor, very nice setup here. That's a lot of plans ready for him, helping him out with the blue buff. Zyra's clear, obviously, is going to eclipse that of Viego, as he has to actually do all the work himself. It's a little unfair.
Yep. Clear as well. Ever since K'Sante kind of came out, was a great K'Sante player.
Yep.
Mainly in Challenger, didn't demonstrate as much of it in the LCK, but had some struggles. Obviously.
The Lane Kingdom setup here for BDD. Already Scorch, Airy as well. Try and get as much damage as he can. And he did really get Vikla in game number 1. To the surprise of no one, let's be fair. I don't think that was the expectation that was there for Vikla.
I don't think many people have Vikla at the top of their mid lane tier list for the LCK.
Well, they might, but they shouldn't. And I say that as someone that I think Vikla has been very much the focal point for some of the underperformances that BNK have had so far. And I do think that it's the team as a whole that has leveled up. I don't think it was just him, but it was definitely one of the more apparent issues that they had with LCK Cup. And one of the reasons why in our classic overreactions, we all overreacted.
Yes.
Funny how that works.
Well, right now, BNK once again with control of the bottom lane, but Puddock is not dead yet, which certainly is better than what happened in game number 1. However, with the amount of shove that has happened, there's still a slight advantage here for Diablo on his Ezreal. Same thing mirrored on the top side, though, casting with a lot of control, as Kuz is going to back on away and then look for his Wolf Camp as the full clear is going to be concluded. Vikla continuing to have some issues here as both flashes available with Vikla so incredibly low. Only a few more instances of, oh, never mind. Oh, Kuz actually able to get it. That's big.
Huge. Yeah, pretty big because it means that Raptor wastes the time. Now, the crab hadn't spawned, and I don't think mid lane is too gankable, even with BDD being this far pushed up, because his own laner is almost dead. But it does mean that Kuz is going to be feeling a lot better. As
death
he
rain
might actually look for playing mid. Vikla is so low, he can flash W.
Yeah.
He can flash W!
Well, Vikla is going to get flash. Going to have to flash, sorry. As Kuz just says, all right, that'll do. Moves away, grabs himself a crab. And with BDD having his own flash available, Vikla going to have to now go back home. Does do so, immediately teleports back. BDD going to do the same thing, but his flash is up and he's 10 CS in the lead.
What's the, is it Spectral Maul, his W?
I am not sure, but that sounds about right.
I want to say that it is.
Yeah, sounds about right. I know Heartbreaker is his ultimate.
Yeah, that's
about it. And I just say the Mist. Because there's so many Misty abilities, and I think Hallowed Mist is the center ability.
It is.
And Mao, you are correct.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Thank you, G-Sun.
Thank you, G-Sun. G-Sun has all the answers, by the way, just so you know.
Well, I mean, she could be doing her job if she wanted to. She just doesn't want to.
What do you mean?
You know?
What's it? What? That's her job. No, being like omnipotent.
I don't know what you're talking about.
What?
If G-Sun wanted to cast her instead of us and produce at the same time, she would.
Yeah.
She's just like, I'm not feeling like it.
No, I mean, that's not what she wants to do. Otherwise, absolutely.
Well, that's my point. Yeah. Oh, a little scary here, but no ultimate available yet. So
little hop.
Passing going to be fine.
Peter headbutting his way in.
Yeah, we have a possible grub situation coming up shortly.
By the way, Yundo has decided that he's okay with producing, and so G-Sun can in fact cast if you just want to go home.
These are things you need to be very careful of, because if we offer the people a chance of a G-Sun cast and we don't give it to them, they'll be very upset.
G-Sun's casted before.
No, I know. I'm aware of the lore.
Yeah. That was that was an emergency situation.
But
it was still a very well-loved situation.
Oh, no.
Well, her and Puffer, I'm pretty sure. As the all-out now going to get thrown away here, as casting, speaking of throwing things away, does so against this Cassante. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Vikla going to try and keep BDD at bay. And Kuz looking to start off a dragon. The Void Grubs about to spawn as well, so it is just going to be a top and bottom side trade, but we know that the dragon teams are often feeling a bit better. So we'll see whether that is going to continue as Puddock and Diablo.
Oh, this is a cannon wave. I think Puddock might be in some serious trouble here. Even with just Callan, he's at risk. He does have cleanse this time around. Obviously going to get a lot of failure. And that can Peter be in time? I don't think so.
Well, they're going to see what they can do.
Oh, yeah, they're waiting for Raptor, which means that there is actually time, and the wave is already thinned out.
Yeah, in they go. Grasping Roots comes down as now Peter gets on in there. Stranglethorns through as well as the Ignite's ticking, but it's not enough. Always drink your potions as Raptor, you absolute insane man, as the True Shot Barrage doesn't do enough, but still Diablo taking matters into his own hands is going to be able to get it done. Peter, with the headbutt, will be able to take down the Plant Lady, but it's plates going on over to the Ezreal. That was a very weird series of events. Ultimately, no one really coming out on top as casting is farming behind the turret here in bottom lane. And this game is continuing right on the same track as game number 1.
Yeah, I really do think proxying is kind of undervalued as a tempo tool, but that's a whole different discussion. As we take a look here, So the call is, and Kellen is only level 3, so I think this makes a bit of sense. They want to wait for Raptor to actually be there. Paddock is able to stay alive for a lot longer than I think was expected. And Raptor knew what he was doing the moment he flashed in there, right? Realistically, he's never going to live. Paddock gets very close to staying alive, but because the wave curse, Diablo can make his way over. And that's
Did Raptor know that he could just flash auto instead of flash plant Q, which is what he tried to do instead?
I imagine he thought he wasn't in range. But he was, so I'm not quite sure.
It's an odd one. Maybe he did the calculation in his head and felt like the auto was not going to quite...
Or Zyra, so that doesn't make sense. But Paddock was very low. Not sure. Kill will be going over to Raptor, though. Can be happy about that. But gold staying relatively even. And I'm going to be looking towards how Peter and Cuz work together. But because for me, this composition is basically, if Peter finds a good engagement, Paddock, you know, finds an ultimate, and then Peter Cuz follow up. Every Viego comp follows the same flow chart, which is we need to start with a kill. There are a decent amount of good targets. I think obviously your number one is Zyra. Zyra is a prime target for just getting blown up in a very short amount of time. Ezreal, Azir obviously are a little bit harder, but that is going to have to rely on Peter or Paddock finding access to that as we have another Raptor gang.
Yeah, him and Kellen making their way in. There's the flash, then it's played. The headbutt pushes Kellen back as there is no unbreakable will. And so Peter will instead be broken. There's a nice pick up there for BNK as the hop out from casting. He's just kind of messing with Clear right now. That sidestep, gorgeous. As casting's Gnar play looking scrumptious right now. 3 grubs will go over to Raptor in the interim.
Oh, the thing that's nice about this is that even if Peter goes down, his AD carry does not. So Paddock will be able to make his way. There it is.
Divide. Grasping Roots comes down as well. PDD just getting comboed to death. Does flash away. They get the flash, and that ult's going to be back off cooldown a bit faster.
Yeah, we'll always talk about this. You just want to try and get the flash on cooldown. Nicely done there by Raptor again, having a huge impact on the map. As I was saying, the hurt of Peter getting killed is mitigated by the fact that casting can TP back, and the fact that Paddock was able to catch the wave and will not be able to catch the bot wave as well. But those rotations continuously for the Varus means that he is falling further and further behind. And you know what this is looking good for, Atlas?
Game 3, baby.
Game 3.
That's what we're talking about.
Because if the Varus and Viego composition is not doing well in the mid game, that generally does not bode well. If they get a Dragon, though, I think you're going to be feeling a lot more confident. Imagine if it's like Dragon into Inferno. I think KT are going to be feeling great.
Yep.
If it's you don't get Dragon and then it's like Ocean, I'm not feeling so great.
Might be another Chemtech as well. You never know.
Oh, Paddock.
We've seen this movie before. And Peter is potentially about to show in mid lane at the same time. Paddock actually gets a bit of an idea as to what's going on and is going to spot out the fact that there is someone in that brush. So now going to look to go back himself. Does give Diablo a lot of space in this bottom lane.
Well, it's pushing away. So this is actually a really big mismanagement of waves here by KT as a team, because this is going to be a ton of gold now given over to Diablo. The only upside is that it might be good when it comes to setting up around the Dragon, because Diablo is most likely going to want to crash this wave, then back, and the new wave is about to come up. But this is going to be a very sizable CS lead that's being built here by BNK.
Yeah, and the amount of time that Paddock has just done absolutely nothing is pretty absurd as well.
His laning phase, I mean, this one I don't think is as much on him as the Kalista, right? There was a lot of 2v2 issues. I think this one is a lot more KT as a team, because we see Peter roaming a lot, but him and Kuz aren't able to actually get anything going. I think they need this Dragon. I think they need this Dragon pretty badly for BNK.
Peter is going to look for a headbutt pole. Gets it. On to Kellen here, taken down to 50%.
Good poke.
Yeah, Eclipse actually helping the Leona out, though, as we know. As Paddock.
Diablo hasn't been able to back, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
So that's actually
corruption
good for Paddock.
available. Still, the rest of BNK just going to move on over. Nice little stun comes out from Cuz. As Clear is at 50% health. Casting has really just been having a great time on this Gnar. We were making fun of the pick, but actually it was probably a good idea as the stun comes through. Another headbutt pole as the Ignite is down. Kellen is going to be taken first. The Stranglethorns does basically nothing as the Chaos Storm used in tandem just made sure that there was no way that this tanky support was going to survive. And now Puddock getting to work on the bottom side, and like you were saying, Diablo was going for a reset, so it's going to be second Drake over to KT. And it felt like this early game was just being ran by BNK, but in an instant, it felt like it switched.
The teleport advantage they also couldn't utilize. Clear had his, whereas Casting didn't, but Casting kept the wave shoved up and was sitting on his Narbar pretty well as that was an Inferno Atlas, I am pretty sure.
Oh, God.
So the big thing here is that they'd already chunked Kellen before, and it's what we said. All you want to do with this comp is just find a target. It doesn't really matter who it is. You need to start a fight with blowing them up, and this takes away the front line, so obviously BNK doesn't really get to follow up. Now, again, I think this is end of the world for BNK. They are still ahead in gold. They should be able to pick up at least another plate here. And I really prefer that 5v5 to a even greater degree, I think, in the last game.
Yep.
But KT getting to 2 Dragons with Inferno on the board is a big deal.
Piercing arrow going to miss under Diablo there as the Void Grubs are going to spawn. We'll see how many BNK are going to be able to pick up, as they already have the first 3. And Diablo not going to land that Mystic shot, so Puddock surviving for the moment. These 3 are put together. Kellen will be able to spot out Cuz as he moves on over towards his Raptor camp. All right, Cuz just getting himself out. Flash invested.
He doesn't have his ult, otherwise he would have used that.
He was pretty scared of the situation, though. I think that if he was solar flared, he probably wouldn't have died, but not a lot of information available.
Yeah, he didn't know, right? He didn't have the control around the river, so I think the flashing there was the correct call. But it does feel bad.
Oh, flash forward here. Casting going to respect it. Flashes away from Clear. Not wanting to get all outed.
Yeah, Casting is sitting on, I assume, his IE or his Trinity 4 Spike Radar, so Clear really wants to shove this in, not allow him to back right now, but it might be a punish angle. It is Xante, though, with ult. I know he doesn't have flash, but...
Yeah, in comes Cuz. Looks for it, but doesn't quite get there. Clear able to just dash his way out. Yeah, he just...
Oh, it's fine. You don't really need to... The gang doesn't need to succeed, right? You just need to get the wave crash so that Casting can base and get his Triforce.
Yep. Peter going to headbutt pole the Ezreal, and nothing really happens. And there it is, like you were talking about. Top lane is
have it yet.
sort of messing around.
He's not backing yet.
Maybe thinking that Clear has gone back, so wants to just shove one more wave into the turret, knowing that the teleport is on cooldown.
No, I did. I'm pretty sure he knows that he couldn't have backed yet. Could have been doing a turret, but...
Well, Puddock going to cleanse the Solar Flare. Chains of Corruption as the flash forward from Raptor goes straight into those chains, but sandwiched into the wall, squished like a bug from Vikla. And that's going to be feats of strength of warfare at least going over to BNK, and they'll take just all of it. As first turret goes over to them as well, so some nice new shoes if ever they'd like to buy them. And in fact, it's right now that Raptor wants to put those together.
Again, this is, to me, both mistakes from Puddock, not recognizing what side of the map he is on, and the fact that he needs to be way more respectful. But also, if there is a Leona, Zyra, and a 0-2 of those invest flash, realistically, you're not going to live. The cross map isn't there at all for KT. So either they need to make sure, they need to ensure that Puddock can catch these waves, because at this point it's obviously a little bit too late. He doesn't have a first item atlas.
Yeah. And
15 minutes in!
And his items are not expensive either, as far as, you know, the lethality virus is concerned. They're generally considered cheaper, so it's subpar to say the least. Is Cuz just going to get chain CC'd here. There's the Stranglethorns. Heartbreaker gets him out of there eventually, as thankfully he bought the Merc Treads. Otherwise, I think he was just definitely dead.
There's a really good Merc's game. With the amount of roots and CC, and also Leona just kind of hates it when you do that. But now, with this, BNK further building upon the lead. Peter, though, looking to punish.
Kellen getting it spotted out. Solar Flare is going to be on where BDD used to be, and Kellen might actually be sacrificed here. They still do manage to pick up the Rift Herald, but KT once again put Kellen in the ground.
Whoa. I'm not sure about that, KT. That's a lot invested just to kill Leona. And Drake spawning in 50 seconds. This is a must-win fight, I do think, for KT with how the game has been going. You really want to set yourself, or you can go for Otacon on the other end of the map. I think that's also fine. But if you just give up this Drake and you kind of stand there, watch them contest, BNK are going to be super happy. Again, I think they scale amazingly, particularly into the KT comp, because normally I'd say you have 2 great sources of poke. But BDD is going for a tankier build. And Puddock is 1.5k gold behind.
He did finish his Ghost Blade.
That is
so
true.
There is that. But we're going to have a look at this fight one more time. Kellen does get BDD's flash immediately. but then overextends. But still, it's all just to get the Rift Herald. Oh, and there was an interruption on a teleport there as well. Casting was trying to teleport in, so that's why that one's on cooldown. Is in fact because Clear had to interrupt it. So he will have TP advantage now.
And we do have BDD and Vikla facing off against the lane here. KT want to start the fight the same way they did the last one. Find target, kill target. Casting's going to go into mini Nardo. And Clear, because of the TP, gets to get an extra base off. So it'll be a good amount stronger. Level 11 now hit for Padak as well. But KT, I don't know if you can contest this, and if you're not sure, it's probably a lot better just get mid, get top.
Yeah.
BDD is catching a wave in top. What exactly are KT doing? I'm not so sure. We'll have to see. Might still just go for a delayed contest as Padak takes a free headbutt to the face.
Yeah, he's Diablo able to drive Shelly into this tower, and it does go down. Vikla and Diablo a fair bit of structural damage.
They're taking Dragon, KT.
Yeah, and you spent a lot of time positioning around here, KT, and you've decided you're not going to go in. Hex flash forward here from Peter. Try and find an angle. Let's see whether they can actually get one, as that is the Drake secured by BNK, but now the fight is on. Vikla in a bit of trouble. Chaos Storm being dealt with, but now Diablo gets his fangs into BDD. Misses a whole bunch of abilities, though. And once again, Kellen's on the floor. Now Diablo finds himself the target instead of the attacker because he gets a turn on him. Has a great ulti, but does get himself out. True Shot Barrage doesn't go the right way to lock down the Viego. But honestly, it's all still good for BNK.
Yeah, they get the Dragon, deny the stack in Assault Point, get mid lane turret. I don't think they're going to be too bothered about all this. Could have obviously been nice if they actually got the team fight win, but they don't really need to. KT say we can't go for the flip here, instead we're playing for the fight. Vikla, BDD just gets mildly inconvenienced by the shuffle, not too bothered.
Yeah.
And crucially, KT do actually find the pick and ensure that they get Cuz the first reset. But then, well, there isn't really anyone that they can go onto. They overchase onto Diablo, who does end up having to use his cleanse just to make sure that BDD doesn't still take him down. But game state mostly unchanged, and I would still say that favors BNK. But if we get an actual team fight, I'll really have a permanent opinion, but I feel like I have not seen an actual 5v5 because either someone isn't there or someone's trying to get there, but they're late because, you know, they when they were trying to leave, they were looking for their keys and they couldn't find them, and they realized when they found the key, they also needed the water bottle, but then they had to wash it, and then they missed the train by like...
And the other person's just waiting, and then when they finally do get all of their stuff together, the other person realizes, oh wait, my glasses are in the other room.
Oh, I gotta walk over,
and
and then you have to get... And then once you get those, you need to actually get over, and the traffic's bad.
Yeah, and then you realize you only did eyeliner on one eye, and you didn't want to do the Clockwork Orange thing this time around because it's not Halloween. Oh, no.
It just sounds stressful thinking about it.
I know.
That's how every
I'm
team
stressed.
fight in this game has been.
That's Voracious Otacon. So we've had a little bit more action this game. That certainly feels good. Oh, actually, less action.
Less,
game.
yeah. I would
never mind. So that feels bad. I was just trying to find a positive, and that was going to be a positive until I got it completely wrong. But now we might have another team fight as Diablo going aggressive, throwing out a whole bunch of buttons towards Peter and Cuz, who are now very, very low. But Cuz is still in range to smite this. It's still a 50-50. This could still be a disaster as in they go, and it's locked down by Raptor. Peter now in trouble. Diablo gone completely ballistic as they get themselves the Otacon as well as more. As now Casting looking to send them all home, but instead he's going to give a triple kill over to this Ezreal, as Padak could be in trouble, but they don't have the vision on him. And Diablo gonna have to just accept the fact that he killed everyone, and also they got the objective.
I think it's easy to accept. I think he's pretty happy.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Eager to accept that. Unfortunately, KT, I think, less happy about this whole sequence of events. Let's see how low it actually goes.
Oh, that's a pretty nice
That was, yeah, I think it was like 1193, I want to say.
It went down to 970 something,
okay.
but like that was in the split second after the 1193.
And it is really important because if BNK don't win that, I think KT find the fight. Instead, a lot of extra gold invested in Diablo. We haven't really talked about the fact that who exactly gets on top of Ezreal in this composition and deals with him?
No one.
No one. That's right.
Definitely not anymore anyway, because he is now 2.7k gold ahead, and I was very, very worried for KT when he was 1.5k gold ahead. And now it's way worse. So
you know how you have the expression, all your eggs in one basket?
Yeah.
Diablo's a great basket.
He is a pretty good basket, as there is another cleanse out from Puddock, and you can't cleanse death, unfortunately, so it doesn't quite do enough. Casting now trying to deal with Raptor and Diablo as a nice double pulverize there from Peter, but he has no friends, and there are 5 members of BNK closing in on this bottom lane as Diablo, he does still have the Otacon buff, and my god, that Arcane Shift was so good. Cuz tries to heartbreak him, and he just gets withdrawn. Now KT, with the fact that there is no Diablo, that was where all the eggs were, as Chronicler just pointed out prior. And so BNK gonna have to back away.
They still got 2 flashes though. Like Puddock used both sums, still died.
Yeah, there's like
And
every
Peter
ult was
flashed
used
as well.
basically. That's all right. BDD upgrading himself a little bit here, but I just don't know whether it's quite gonna upgrade enough. He does have a slight gold advantage in comparison. Sorry, not gold advantage. He has a slight gold bounty, which means that he's doing a great job. But he is behind. CS advantage by 20, though. So there is at least that. As, yeah, this is the big problem scenario. And we can see it demonstrated on your screen as the soccer player moving towards Cuz.
In game number 1, there was the redemption moment for Puddock.
Yeah.
I think now the arc is that we're building up for a redemption in game 3.
I think if there's going to be one, that is where it's going to have to be.
I don't think it's going to be in this game.
I would agree.
Not feeling optimistic.
No, neither am I. Second Dragon going to be picked up by BNK here. Looks like Raptor will not be contested on that one, as Diablo is also just taking this inner turret with impunity. Absolutely nothing Puddock can do about it. I thought that Mystic shot missed, but Puddock maybe walked into it by accident there. As BDD being very vocal in the player cams, and you can understand why. This guy has had a pretty good game. As teleport in from Vikla. Clear is extraordinarily low, though, as the Naba has been filled. The all-out does come through here, as that wall upon it, too, is fantastic. He nars them both away, but it's just too many. And it's Vikla that's able to lock down the kill onto the Gnar. And Peter looking pretty upset. You can see casting as well. Like, he's been having a great laning phase. He's been playing very, very well in the 1v1, but honestly, it just doesn't really matter.
You know how in game number 1 we were really happy with what it eventually ended up being, which was just a team fight bonanza?
Yeah.
This is like when you go to the sequel of a movie, you don't really do your research, and then it turns out that instead of the action movie you were expecting, they've turned it into like a slow burn political thriller, like a courtroom drama.
Yeah.
And like, that's good. You know, you can appreciate that, but that's not what you came for.
No, it's not. You were there for Fast and the Furious.
Yeah.
And you got a beautiful mind by accident. Honestly, if I walked in and I'd never seen either of those, I'd be pretty happy, though. Beautiful Minds, absolute masterpiece.
I think you chose movies that were too good for the situation I'm describing here, Atlas.
Yeah, I apologize.
It makes my analogy feel off.
It is somewhat hard to watch, though. I don't know. I think Russell Crowe just did a really good job. Maybe it's irrelevant. By maybe, I mean it's definitely irrelevant. KT just trying to desperately find some way back into this game. I don't think the BNK are going to let them, but BNK have let teams come back before.
No, not this time. Not this time. It's 5k gold lead. They're stacking up Infernal Drakes. As long as they don't throw in Baron and let Cuz get a free Baron smite off, I don't think there's a way to lose this game.
Well, there's Pulverize from Peter, but I think he's the one that's going to get pulverized. He does have the Unbreakable Will, but it's looking very breakable.
Well, that was cute. You tried to use the plant to taxi out. Yeah, it was cute.
Was cute. It didn't work. And Cuz tries to go into the mist to keep himself alive. Diablo is just raining death down on KT.
That's the enemy team Azrael, by the way. The 6 and 0 can be hit. Just keeps going in.
I think a piercing arrow landed. BDD is actually hitting a bunch of these death rays, but the Baron is still just going down. And Cuz, 1 versus 2 here, and he's going to have to heartbreak away. He does do so, but he's, even with Flash, is still dead. Casting looking for a bit of an angle. The Baron is going to be secured. And BNK now looking to wrap this up with a team fight as well, as KT trying to get the damage down. It's a decent crush to get Casting out of there. Vikla attempts to go on over as the Chaos Storm coming on through, but Clear is just so tanky. And Diablo is going to be able to find Peter once again. He was fresh out of the death chamber and is immediately back in there again. And KT, I mean, we knew this was going to be a 3-gamer.
Diablo?
But this, yeah, Diablo is just messing with them now. Another one, Arcane Shift over, misses a bunch of buttons, but he'll have another one as Puddock Just charges up a Q and it just does pitiful amounts of damage.
The last AD carry, or Challenger AD carry I saw be this completely unhinged on Ezreal was Pace.
Yeah.
In 2022. Diablo, some of these E's forward, he definitely shouldn't be getting away with. But he is. I actually really like this from BNK. This is very, very cleanly played out, right? Just need to mark Cuz. As long as Cuz is marked, which they do well, Kellen and Clear ensure that he doesn't get anywhere near the pit. Does end up taking him down. They definitely didn't know where Clear was, because if it was just Kellen, Cuz might have actually found an angle. He had shield bow as well, which kept him alive for a little bit longer there. And then here, if Paddock wasn't as far behind, you know, maybe Kellen dies. Maybe Clear dies.
Raptor also getting a beautiful, what is it? I need a different word. Because I can't say wraparound because it's Raptor. So I need to bring up that thesaurus again.
The Raptor around?
Yeah, swaddle around there from Raptor in order to get a beautiful grasping roots. Yeah, this is done and dusted, ladies and gentlemen. Emperor's Divide is going to hit the cow, and Peter walks it off. Vikla goes golden because he thinks it looks cool, and it does. As the inner turret is going to fall, and BNK, they can do stuff like that because it doesn't really matter what they do now. They are so incredibly far ahead. 9,000 gold at 28 minutes. And Cuz just having to back away from Clear, who is a raid boss in unto himself. They'll take this inhibitor turret. The rest of KT, they are grouped. They're looking for an angle. The Stranglethorn, though, is going to block off Peter from the rest of his team, and Diablo is going ballistic. Nexus turret's now under fire. PDD does use his Zhonya's, and Kellen and Vikla are taking a fair bit of damage, but honestly, it just doesn't matter, as the True Shot Barrage is going to destroy this Viego. Diablo, what was that? That was super strange, but never mind. Nexus turrets are still going to lie on the floor as Vikla, he's flashing, he's looking for more. He takes down BDD and Paddock, and the Nexus will fall, and BNK will bring us to a game 3.
Of the back of the Tiny Devil in the bot lane.
Oh yeah.
Playing Ezreal. Nicely done there by BNK. Really, our only trepidation comes from the fact that that game was a blowout. Felt like it was over very early on, and the continued struggles of Paddock in the laning phase in this one were just a little bit too much to overcome. I do want to say, though, Paddock is obviously going to be the main one, but even like Peter felt a little off, right? We saw that Cuz wasn't able to really have the impact on his Viego. I think a lot of the confidence that were there at Kitty for game number 1. This time it was BNK. Raptor with a really clean Zara game as well. Actually, really, really crisp early impact.
Wow.
They played it well. Yeah, that's
a lot of damage.
Yep. All eggs in the right basket.
Absolutely. Diablo, absolutely phenomenal game. I think some people thought he was Diablo 4, but I think he's Diablo 2. The best one out of the series. 100%. Even the remaster, absolutely glorious. It is time for us to go to a short break. When we get back, the space is going to break down the BNK victory, and then we will have the final game of the day as KT look to try and fight back against BNK Furex. We'll see you there.
그냥 세게 해봐.
바로스 노플.
이러면
바로스 노플이야.
공복해.
공 봐봐.
여기까지만 해야 돼. 여기까지만 해야 돼.
천천히. 야, 타워 치면 끝나.
타워부터 쳐볼게.
빅토르 노플. 빨리는 거 봐, 빨리는 거.
빅토르 볼게. 빅토르 노플. 야, 빨리
타워
가, 빨리
깨면서 해야
가.
돼. 타워 깨면서 해야 돼. 타워 깨면서.
할게. 괜찮아, 나 이거.
피해고 봐.
괜찮아, 괜찮아. 봐줄래?
이제 봐줘.
야, 다 잡아, 다
타워
잡아.
잡아, 타워 잡아.
잘해야겠는데? 아, 천천히 하면 돼.
끝났어.
또 리버 할게.
끝났어. 들어오는 거 봐.
끝났어.
빨리까지.
Both of these teams are prepared to do some drafting. And so already the Nefiri going to be taken away here as we have 10 champions banned from both games, equaling 20 champions, now 22, as the Yone does come through.
Sejuani seems like a no-brainer ban here for me on BNK's side. Cuz has already played 2 of his other classic Cuz champions.
By the way, I know you didn't give it a crack, but this guy in chat did. Like, Starecrow just said, and it wasn't that hard. They said it was in chat.
Typing things is generally an easier task, yes, that is true.
Yeah, 60 Grocery did it as well.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, until
You've got quite a treasure there, that Roderick Q.
until they add the ability to send voice memos in Twitch chat.
You can do that if you put in a donation. I'm sure the LCK are going to activate it, so we're going to have like donation.
We are not doing
text-to-speech.
text-to-speech donations in the LCK.
Then we could have the whole chat commentate as well.
No.
Oh, that would be
Atlas,
fantastic.
Atlas, we did that already, and it was glorious. Remember?
That's-
we did that in Challengers. We
did
let
that in
chat commentate.
But that was just silence.
Yes, that was the joke.
It was very good, though. All right, Rumble and Vi going to be the follow-up bans here on KT's side as the Corki and Gwen were taken away. The Ari going to be snapped up here by BDD, a champion that he has found a lot of success on, and also a bit of a playmaker here for the man that we all rely on for KT. Diablo, though, if the MF does get picked up, that does mean that he can also take over games.
Maybe
So
MF
prior, that
Rel?
one was a difficult one.
Could see that being prioritized here. I do really like putting BDD on something with a bit more agency because Victor, as good as he is, does take a while to really reach hard carry status.
Yeah.
Now that is a classic combo. I love that they're making use of Raptor, his
The
champion
sleepy
pool.
time.
Yep. Sleepy time where you fall asleep and then MF, her ult is a dot.
Yeah.
So you never wake up and you just kind of get blown up.
And it just massages you into the nether realm. It's basically what I like to think of.
With bullets.
Yeah, with bullets.
Huh.
But it's just a dot, you know, so it's not...
Yeah.
Paddock is going to head towards more utility, which I think based on his previous performances is a good idea. Ash going to be locked in, and BDD, what are we taking? I imagine Cuz's pick is probably going to come through, so we don't see the jungle pool further limited.
Or do you pick Brom here?
Ooh, I would like that as well. You can see Peter is being pretty animated right now, nodding away.
Does make sense into DMF. The downside is obviously you're blinding Brom, but you can protect
Wait,
it a little bit.
Sejuani's available.
Well, that's, yeah. Oh, no.
Oh, God.
Oh, no. Well, this could go to Cuz. I do actually want to highlight that because I do think that Pantheon jungle with Ari is actually a good setup.
Yep.
So I'm hoping that that is the case. We won't know.
Sejuani was available.
That is true. Yeah, and they might still end up going Sejuani. I do also think that Sejuani Pantheon is actually cracked because you can insta-stack the permafrost with W.
True.
So you can get a really, really strong CC chain. The reason why we don't want to see Pantheon support is because it just has looked quite bad. And I think that BNK are also not convinced that this is Pantheon support, which I think is a good call.
Yep.
You know what you can do here as KT? So you keep this comp, you go jungle Pantheon, top Sejuani, support Maokai.
Ooh.
Top Sejuani, I don't know if you heard that Flandre played. I'm pretty sure it was Flandre. Someone in the LPL played it with Roa.
Oh, God, that sounds amazing.
Remember when Nuguri did that a bunch as well?
Yeah.
Like Ignite, top Sejuani.
Yeah, with Leandries. I think it was like Tank and Leandries was the build.
Man, those were the days.
They were the days. I remember when Skara played at mid lane as well, back on Dignitas.
Okay, let's not go too crazy. That's a 10-year gap between those two.
Yeah, there is a little bit of a gap. But it did still happen.
It did happen.
He was the first one that I saw that played it in mid lane. As Rise is going to be banned away. Yes, this is sort of like old man, please go to sleep type situation. Nocturne going to be the follow-up here as well on the side of BNK. So one last ban to come through here for KT. Wanting to limit what Vikla is going to be able to do into the Ari of BDD. Although the Renekton going to be the one taken away.
And Bessa is
here.
open.
Yeah, why not just take that? Because they can also run double AD if they would like to. So Ambessa is technically a flex at the same time.
We'll see what it's going to be here. Ambessa pickup makes complete sense, though. Renekton's already taken away. But KT must have also known that they were going to pick Ambessa as soon as you ban that Renekton, right? You're basically putting it in their head.
Yeah.
So maybe it's... I just want to see what actually gets locked in.
Maybe it is the Yorick angle.
I don't think it's the Yorick angle.
Oh, never forget Yorick Mori, my friend.
Everyone does all the time.
No, but they shouldn't, because that's his voice line. Aatrox is available, so that is another option in the Ambessa, of course. Casting, it does feel like
Aatrox said
a volatile matchup.
Is that just it? Aatrox Sedge doesn't really get me excited.
Poppy would be kind of fun. I think, like, if they want to really go all in on the pick comp, then Elise fits very, very well.
I think that makes sense, yeah. So you go Pantheon jungle, and then you go Elise Ashe bot lane, which is a ton of pressure. Your 2v2 looks good. I like that. I think that's a fine angle. Peter is going to have to execute well. The Alistar was really not what we wanted to see, but his Nico was incredible.
Yep.
Maybe we can replicate that level of performance on the Elise.
I'm not entirely sold, because it does feel like it's all in on a style of comp that we've seen not really work without a big snowball, as the Galio is going to be locked away here for Vikla. So this is a get behind the Diablo and Raptor train, and that honestly has been exactly the game plan that's won games for BNK FureX. Really beautifully constructed here as far as the teamfight comp is concerned.
This is also a dream game to play MF. You know, sometimes we look at MF comp and we go like, I don't know, literally everyone has set up for Diablo. Every single person. And two of those are arguably the best setup in the game. Rel is completely bonkers. Raptor, with his ultimate, completely crazy. And then you even have Galio to keep you safe. Now, laning matchups. That's where I think it gets a little bit more worrying. The early skirmishes should be heavily in favor. We should see bot lane for KTF Prio, which opens up Peter. But in game number 2, Peter did a lot of roaming. Him and Cuz tried to do stuff. Nothing happened, and Podak fell 1.5k gold behind.
Well, let's see whether he can do better this time around. So much of it is not going to come down to how much damage can Podak do, though. It's about how accurate these arrows are going to be, and how far ahead can BDD get.
Yeah, and BDD, hopefully, 4KT fans should be able to stumble the mid game. I want to give credit, though. I think 3 games in a row, BNK end up with a draft that made me go, I can see it. And even though it didn't end up working out in game number 1, I think they have been very consistent. This is yet another example. It leans into the strength of their players. I like it a lot.
Yep, and I think a lot of people have been critical of Ryu as well recently, so he's had a phenomenal day here today. We have to pay him his due. Let's hop onto the Rift, ladies and gentlemen, for game number 3.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다. 미니언 생성까지 30초.
Alrighty, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the Rift for the 3rd game of this series and our final game of the night. It's been a heck of a day so far today. I think not a lot was expected coming into the, well, it wasn't an expected outcome in our first series, but this was absolutely the expected outcome, is the fact that we were here in game 3 between KT and BNK. But now the outcome of this game, I have no idea. I do think that BNK have a gorgeous draft, but KT can snowball this, and it could certainly work.
I don't think we should overcomplicate things.
Yeah.
Does BDD have the ability to 1v9 the game on this character?
Yes.
KT win.
No, KT can win.
No, KT win. That's my that's my prediction officially. I'm locking it in now.
Wow, that's it's very aggressive of you. But I know that you are the man who's about predictions.
Okay, so this is a good time to have that conversation, right?
What conversation?
The conversation about
how much you like predictions?
No, how this is all a big constructed psyop to make people believe I actually care.
I'm just going to interrupt you for a second because there's a bit of a skirmish happening. I know you were saying a thing.
It's not leading to anything. We're fine, Atlas.
Yeah, that's fine. But let's change the subject.
Because
it's not a psyop. It's just the truth, and it's fine. Kellen down to 300 here on this bottom side as Peter and Podak doing pretty well. We would expect the Ashe Elise to be with a fair bit of priority, though. I could imagine. No? Level 2 was gained here by BNK, so that does mean that they are in the advantage.
Yeah, they're 1 minion behind. I think they still have a lot of fighting power. Need to hit the cocoons, though. You can even go in on Kellen. Frankly, when you have this much aggressive firepower, as long as you hit the E. Peter thus far, I think 0 for 2. He also looked for one on Vikla, but that one we weren't really expecting to hit us. Yeah, here we go.
Yep.
We're
We're fighting on a couple of fronts here. That's going to be the way we're playing this out. As Paddock finds the ward onto Diablo. Yeah, and he's stacking it up here. That's a brilliant cocoon, and now the Ignite is down. This is what you were talking about. They can go in on Kellen. Paddock's flashing forward. He finds the first blood, the revenge of the Psyduck. You love to see it as BDD is winning in the mid lane. Who would have thought? But this was the unexpected outcome of this game.
It's the redemption moment there for Paddock after 2 really rough laning phases. This needs to happen.
Oh, yeah.
First things first. This is what's supposed to happen. Key thing there, I think, is that Kellen actually got his...
Vikla just gets solo killed by BDD. Oh, and hands off keyboard there from Vikla, and look at that smile. BDD's like, oh, let me get my drink. Let me just get the sweat off my palms. Don't you worry.
Atlas, I'm here telling you right now, that was more. That man just looked up in the sky for a second, and I think internally was like, oh my god, thank you. Thank you. That bot lane is finally winning. You know, it's my third game in solo queue in a row, and finally I got a winning bot lane.
There you go.
As in they go. Khaled, as I mentioned, if he doesn't actually get to steal a lot of resistances, doesn't have Aftershock, he is squishy.
Oh dear. Kellen.
Oh, he's dead.
Yeah. In a lot of trouble here as he's trying to make his way over towards this turret. Casting's looking to try and get it on in there, but there goes the
They can dive clear.
Yeah. And now it's all set up.
They can dive clear.
Paddock's going to turn up. Clear is wondering what the heck he's supposed to do here as the Spiderlings are also in. Diving this is so easy. Cuz going to be able to back away. And in fact, they have so many champions that are so good at diving turrets. My God, it's
and just as BDD is, you know, very happy, we can already see the KT fans completely losing it. As, guys, we're 3 minutes in. You know, let's chill a little bit as the electrocute there from BDD.
Oh man, I think we all, like every KT fan in the world watching this made the same noise. Absolutely.
As here, the thing is that we actually have Cuz there combined with Peter and Paddock on this classic topside roam towards the Grubs. BNK is behind the plate. And if you're wondering, why are these guys so happy for KT? It's because I don't think BNK quite needed to win a series as much as KT. Because KT's performance was really throughout the entire year thus far, unfortunately, pretty dreadful. Now, BNK isn't out of it.
No.
But they are 2k gold down. And that is generally considered subpar. Their team fight is amazing. I think you're going to be looking towards maybe some side lane plays with this Galio. And you also need Raptor to be level 6. But mid lane is not going super well for Galio.
Yeah, I would say not. BDD just doing his very best to keep as much pressure up as possible. Throws out the ulti, in fact, as he looks for the charm. Flash comes out from Vikla. He is terrified of this Fox Lady.
As he should be.
Yeah, understandably so.
Atlas as he should be.
And first Drake going to be going over to BNK actually here, as Cuz is prioritizing the Grubs instead. So the first Cloud being picked up as, oh god, every time an ability flies forward, I get scared that Vikla is just going to die again. As Cloud Drake going to be picked up like we were talking about, and it is going to be the Grubs secured as Paddock just babysitting Diablo and Kellen, making sure that they stay in their lane. That is exactly what is going to happen. Vikla thinking that now is the time to go home, but it in fact isn't. This wave is going to get very quickly ushered in towards his turret, and it's BDD that decides when we reset.
I know BT's long mana for a second there, so Vikla woke up like, oh, don't try to cancel. Don't do it.
Ooh, casting. Going to be able to find the full combo here onto Clear. He gets the shield. I don't think he's going to die just yet, but the fear of God well and truly in him.
Yeah, Aatrox's cooldowns at this point a little bit too early. If this is level 13, 14 and he has an item and a half, might have died there, but Clear does have a good amount of sustain. And Peter, to me, has been the big difference maker, right? Like, Peter set up the bot side play, Then was there for the topside dive as well, even though he used his E earlier to get over the wall, still was instrumental in setting it up. And now he's the reason why Claire has to abandon this area very, very quickly.
Yep. And more plate gold going over. 2 plates very quickly being taken down.
3K Atlas at 7.5 minutes.
That is absolutely absurd. I think that's what happens when you win every lane simultaneously. But maybe even when you do, it doesn't often become this much of an advantage.
But you can lose.
Oh, we're going to go wide as now Peter realizes that there is no one else here.
If they had vision, he would be dead.
Oh, he should
or at the very least would have flashed us.
Instead, Cuz going to make his way in. Diablo will get stunned up, but only momentarily as Peter will find that cocoon, and BDD is going to pay a visit. Kellen going to get taken down as there's the bullet time. Peter says, not even close, baby. And now, Raptor making his way in. There is a dead BDD. And so Vikla does get a little bit of revenge, but perhaps we're typing worth in the old chat.
Big bounty to pick up there. Crucially, the stun from Cuz hit within the extra tenacity window of the cleanse, which is why, because that actually started off amazing for KT, because Diablo got hit by the arrow instead of getting hit by the Cuz W, but then, you know, they still ended up taking down his casting. Just, I've been really impressed by casting today.
Yeah, me too.
It's actually been a nice level up as, so the arrow comes in, tags Diablo, which he cleanses, and then that's why the stun on the W is so short, and why this play is even a little bit close. Peter initially takes aggro, holds up, obviously wants to wait as long as possible, and then the sleep comes through as casting. Reinforcements are on the way, but he might be dead.
Let's see. He is trying his best, and he is Aatrox. He has World Ender, finds the double Q with the second one. Lands the third as well. He's still going to get thrown around. Let's see whether he can get himself out. The flash is going to be employed. That will get him to safety. Finds another knock-up as casting really playing to his limits. As there is the teleport from Clear to get him towards the bottom side. Didn't want to miss out on this full wave. Will only miss one melee. Okay, it was a lot of stuff happening, but in the end, AT will be fine.
B&K, with the bot side play though, have pulled back a little bit on the gold lead. Now, it's still 2.5k gold. Nothing to scoff at. The biggest discrepancy when it comes to items is that Cuz is sitting on a full Sundered Sky.
My God.
Yeah, he's a 3-0 Pantheon Atlas. That is bad news for B&K, because anywhere where they want to try and go for a play, there's a risk of Cuz just dropping by, but not in a nice way. You know, he's not dropping by with a cake to thank you for, I don't know, one thing or another. But he's dropping by to tell you you're in trouble.
Yeah, and you certainly are. As you can see, Diablo playing with a lot of respect, doesn't know what's going to be happening here, but that was a ward that was in the brush. So, still knows that there's no one there.
What would Cuz tell you that you're in trouble about?
Banning Viego.
Well, he banned Viego himself, really.
That's true. But if you did do that, he'd tell you that you're in trouble about that. Yeah,
I just can't see it, actually. Cuz is such a giddy guy.
Yeah, I don't think Cuz would really tell you off about anything. Wait,
No.
he'd tell you to go slow.
Well,
If
we
you
know
don't-
we,
if
we,
you don't
we
go
have
slow-
we have evidence of that.
Yeah, if you don't go slow enough, then maybe he's going to
Really,
be a
is
bit
there
mad at you.
anyone on this KTT? Like, do you see Peter? No, he's a mascot.
Yeah.
Yeah. BDD? No.
No, it's all vibes. As Cuz looking for 6 scrubs, we know that that can be a detriment as far as stats are concerned.
Okay, we need to let that joke retire, because people have no idea what we're talking about.
Statistically, getting 6 scrubs is not necessarily a key to winning. Mainly if it's traded for dragons, and that is what's happening here. As Raptor, you can see, does hang around the dragon pit.
Is it traded for dragons?
Yeah, that's what I thought it was, because there was a jungler next to the dragon. But when I then looked at the other champions that were in the area and the lane control, it wasn't really a situation.
We really learn things every day, don't we?
We do. It's called being human.
I don't know, I'm sure there's days where you don't learn anything as a human.
I mean, if you slept all day, then you probably wouldn't learn anything.
There's definitely been days where I I didn't do anything today. I guess you always, just by existing.
Well, then maybe
absorb
you
something.
learned that by not doing anything that day, it didn't make you all that happy, and so you'd prefer to
So
do
by
things.
definition, you would, yeah, that's...
Yeah, yeah. And every day that you do that and you once again realize that, then you get that double.
But what if it's like you watch, like, you binge a show, and then you just completely forget about the show afterwards in, like, a few months?
Well, then
It
you've
just
learned
wasn't
that that show wasn't worth watching.
Yeah, you're right. No. All right. Well, I guess we're cooked.
Yep. Cuz looking for an angle, and the arrow is going to fly down. The Magnus Storm is going to eat a lot of the CC, but I think the KT are going to eat Kellen. And that is indeed what happens. That is a Rel very swiftly dispatched of, as Puddock looking to make his way down once again. Diablo going to try and get him out of here, but Puddock's actually pretty strong, as we know. And so happy to stand his ground. Raptor going to move on over. There's the flash, and Diablo just gets solo killed by the Ashe. He does immediately go down, but he's got Peter here to try and defend, who is a support, facing off against a level 9 Lilia at level 5.
Did Puddock need to do that? No. Should Puddock have done that? Probably also no. But it was personal, Atlas.
Did it
he had a
feel good?
point to prove.
Yeah, I think it definitely felt good.
They're nice taxiing out there by Claire using Peter as a get-out-of-jail-free card. Unfortunately, the sacrificial horse remains in place. As Puddock, there's a wave. You're using your flash for this. This was not even a little bit worth.
And also, why the flash?
But he did get the solo bolo.
Yeah, it was interesting though.
Didn't he flash the Raptor E?
Ah, did he?
I think so, yeah.
Ah, there was a bowling ball that I missed.
I'm gonna assure, because I do recall thinking he was flashing for a reason. But
I
now he doesn't-
prefer to think about it if that was the case.
Okay, but now he doesn't have flash, so that's not a great.
He does
thing.
have a 2-level lead as Peter manages to find the cocoon. I don't know what the outcome's going to be as Clear is taking a lot of damage. Colors is at full health and BDD comes over, finds the Orb Deception, and down goes the Rel once again. Oh, I feel like Kellen's been the butt of every joke this game.
Leave Kellen alone!
Oh, it's so mean. No matter what is happening, it's Kellen that dies as a result. They engage onto Clear, Kellen's dead. They engage onto Clear again, Kellen's dead again.
Engage on Vikla. Guess what happens? Kellen dead.
Yeah, Kellen dead.
Try to kill Diablo in a 2v2. Believe it or not, again,
Kellen's dead.
Kellen's dead.
Oh,
He's just Kellen.
he is. He's just trying to be a horse, or at least metal pants that turn into a horse.
We're not having this conversation again. As Peter with the flash cocoon. Clear actually still moves, even the cocoon hit him thanks to the buffer initially. I'm just shocked at the amount of damage Cuz does, by the way.
Yeah, man.
Like, and I know he's fed, but my god, that Pantheon.
And that was just the spiky shield.
I mean, no, I think he got a full, like a 5-stack Q off, and then he eat afterwards to not
It
take
felt
any
to
damage.
me like it was just his spiky shield move
No, he did-
that did a lot of damage, and that was cool.
Oh, well, I'm sorry to...
I know,
burst
it's not
your
how that
bubble.
works. It still it looked like it, and so that felt good. Because this is a game that is just KT being in control throughout the entirety, and the problem for B&K is the fact that KT can snowball with the pick comp so well. That's what pick comps do.
Here's good news for B&K.
Got it.
1.5K of this lead isn't real,
Okay.
because it's on a lease.
Aha.
Now, I got no cope for the other issues in this game, but that one, that's like a write-off. You can just, it's like when you,
Oh dear. Well, BDD is going to charm Raptor, and there's the cocoon as well. Oh, Peter with the follow-up. Absolutely beautiful. Vikla now trying to get
Fighting
something
back.
back onto Cuz.
I don't think we should.
Yeah, I don't know about that one either. As another Spirit Rush, we're looking for some more essence here for this Ahri. Remember, there's no inner turret, and so the flash forward from Cuz, not punishable, and he's going to block the Justice Punch. There is, in fact, no justice for B&K here.
Peter, no!
Peter is looking to just kill Kellen before he inevitably dies, and he's not going to be able to do that. Down goes Itsy Bitsy Spider. And so all of what could have potentially been a shutdown for Peter has now been slurped up by the Rel that was chain dying all game.
Well, as the pick comp coming into play, Raptor doesn't even get that close to face checking, tries to respect because he's Lilia, but he finds him with a charm. Then Vikla and Kellen initially, I think, just try to CC as Clear is very...
Oh, the public execution was cute.
The taxi out?
Yeah, gets over towards Puddock though, and he permanently slows him. Wow, that burst damage.
Wait,
Cuz
the
is
turn?
good. Yeah, there's the two-man taunt coming through from Vikla, and immediately it is a dead Puddock. BDD comes in though, and now Peter is going to turn up. Vikla quickly getting taken down solo cuz an absolute raid boss before he dies. And now BDD is getting the resets. Raptor trying to survive, but he gets charmed up and destroyed. And we said, give BDD a carry he can 1v9 on, and he's doing it.
The Itsy Bitsy
With the help of his jungler as well.
arrives in time. Oh, I'm looking at the 10 assist Peter.
Yes!
The little spider that could. As we take another look here, as Clear is trying to push in the side lane. He does not get to push this far up because Clear, Dragon is spawning. They will be on this side of the map. You do feel safe because you're on Bessa, but the real issue is that it baits the rest of his team into this. And initially, this actually doesn't look bad. Kellen actually finds a nice angle over the wall. If they had Diablo's ult, I actually think they turn the game. Imagine an ult on top of that.
Oh god, yeah.
That could have been a game turner, but they don't have Diablo's ult. So they just all kind of get blown up because KT is very far ahead.
And the damage in AoE from this KT roster is absurd.
Well, again, the KT composition falls apart if they're behind.
Yeah.
Because they don't have front line. They have no one that can really face check outside of Pantheon just like walking up and eating.
They have Hawkshot though.
Yeah, they do have Hawkshot, but that's still, you know, that's a pretty long cooldown.
Yeah.
So the composition just doesn't really work, but you have so much EC, so much damage, and because you're ahead, you have map control. So how can play?
Yeah.
You can.
No, how can play is exactly the question that we need to ask, and we cannot answer.
Unfortunately, you remember that write-off I mentioned earlier?
Yeah.
Where BNK was like, we can not care about that gold. So that's been moved from Peter to BDD, which is really bad for the. In case you're not that adept at math, that's not good for your taxes.
Oh, thank you.
It's really bad news.
I'm not very good at taxes. Paddock is going to get the interrupt here onto Diablo, and BDD is just going to look for the charm, and they kill him before the heroic entrance comes in. Oh man, look at that. BDD just left his business card and got the heck out of there.
That's rude, okay? Diablo thought he was going for a 1v1. He's like, I want to try and win this one. And then he has help.
And Diablo, sorry, Paddock took his time throwing that arrow as well. But it was still a good combo there from the MF to try and start it up. Unfortunately, they are so incredibly far behind, it means absolutely nothing. We're going to have a look at it one more time. The double up, perfect. And I guess it wasn't actually that delayed. He just did manage to get a lot of damage off. And there we go, once again, utilizing the added tenacity of a recently used cleanse.
Yeah, don't mind me, I'm just putting my POM comment in.
Yeah, please get it in there.
Because I need
to... Peter Pan is the man.
Okay, you know I want to vote Peter.
Oh, you're going to vote Peter.
I'm not voting Peter.
Who else could you vote for? Maybe the BDD guy.
Who do you think? Think for just a second.
I mean, cuz he, even in a lost game, got his Niddle license and stuff like that.
They won that game.
They won that game, never mind. That was the first one.
It's been a long day. It's been a long day.
It's been a very long day.
It hasn't even been
What did he play in game 2? Yeah, it was Diego. It was terrible.
It was, yeah, not cuz.
Okay. Casting's had a good time.
I agree. Honestly, I wouldn't even be mad at a Peter vote. I just know exactly what everyone everyone is gonna make about BDD and the POM comment. I'm gonna join in the fun. You know? I'm gonna try and get a different flavor of it.
Okay. As Casting is gonna get ganked, or is he? Kellen's gonna turn up, but a little bit late as the sleep comes through, public execution comes down, and Casting will die, but at what cost? The Otacon is going to be taken. Kellen almost dies, and BDD is taking an inner turret, or at least attempting to. Will pick up a teleport for his trouble, and the teleport of his own is going to get him towards that top lane while the rest of his team do deal with this Otacon. And that's going to be a bunch of flowers as well, and they'll continue to have a gigantic lead in almost every department, as Kellen's level 8 and Peter's level 10. Seeing an Elise with a level lead is also kind of nutty, because I feel like Elise just becomes a cocoon bot and then just never gets any levels again after about level 7. So Peter now has 2 items done. Mikhail's Crucible as well as his Dash Cannon. This is it's kind of absurd, the level of fed that Peter is.
I love that the second item is Mikhail's as well. He's like, okay, I got my one utility item, which is rocket belting in, and I guess he has Bloodsong as well, and then straight to enabling my 10 stacks Magi's carry.
Yep. BDD just putting that one together as we'll get a charge of Shelly. And Raptor does complete his second item. Riftmaker is now done. But KT stretching this lead to pretty ridiculous distances. Peter will be able to taxi his way over. In fact, just goes up and down. That was an odd one. BDD looking for the angle, doesn't find the charm or the Orbit Deception. But you blink and you miss it. As Cousin Vikla doing battle. BDD now seeing whether he can take down a gargoyle as the arrow sails by. Looked good, didn't do anything. Yeah, clear. Can he find a public execution angle as the Magnastorm onto 2? Flash out from Puddock as he gets sleepy but has the cleanse. And they should be able to get rid of Cuz. Casting has made his way in with that teleport, but he's now on the wrong side of the fight. Oh God, KT, this is so incredibly awkward. Everything sort of missing here is now Casting looking for his opportunity, looking for his angle. The bullet time, though, is going to be thrown over the top of the Aatrox, but he's pretty fed, to be perfectly honest, so it doesn't do very much damage. Now looking to go down, and there it is. It's clear that locks up the kill on his opposite number, and B&K get 2 for free. That wasn't 2 for 3 with a speech problem.
I'm gonna put my POM comment aside until further notice. This alone, not enough to make me not believe, but it is a little worrying.
Well, there is the charm, immediately followed up by the cleanse.
I can't believe he cleansed that and still lost 60% of his health.
I feel like every time anyone gets tagged by a slow, they're about to die. In Vikla's case, that was indeed what happened.
Who am I voting for again? Oh, Cuz!
Oh, Cuz! Maybe it's Cuz! He's just gonna, man drop in. And say, if you heard that cool song, it's Raining Men. It's a nice one, and it was indeed, and he's going to take down a dragon at the same time. That is what heroes do. They come in and they slay the dragon, and then they leave. I think that's what heroes do. That's in a lot of those the stories, right? Let's have a look at this fight one more time. It's not great for KT, as the arrow does go wide, but honestly, they don't really need to be doing this, but they're so far ahead that they can.
I still think that any KT fan felt just a tinge of dread as this play started up. But fortunately, both BDD and Casting have so much innate mobility that I think it's hard to actually lock them down in a short amount of time. And B&K is really far behind on the items, so Casting doesn't actually get taken down until much later, which buys the time for the rest of the team to kind of get back into position.
Yeah.
And this, watch the timing on that cleanse, perfect. Doesn't matter because he still takes a full Q from BDD, meaning that Diablo trying to sustain off the wave, but then Dikla does get caught. Kellen tries to keep him alive, but no dice.
Yeah, Cuz just pops in. Thanks very much.
That was clean, by the way. Like the Q smite there, that was what, like 1600 health?
There was absolutely no way they were going to do anything about it. Shattering Strike not going to do anything, and yeah, very dead is Callan. Now clear, could be in trouble. Casting on top of him, Vikla looking for an angle as the sleep comes down onto 2, but Cuz, no one could follow up on that one as in goes Casting, finds a huge double knock-up, the bullet time to try and answer, but there's a cocoon from Peter. Get this man! The POM is a double kill on a volley from Puddock is so good, and of course, Peter finds another one, the volatile Spiderling, another volley for a kill, and KT will ace B&K in trade for no one.
And with that, Kellen stands alone.
Only because he respawned really quickly.
Watching the roller coaster crash down upon his Nexus Atlas.
Oh, in goes Cuz, taking up 2 Nexus turrets, but it's all just to kill Kellen. There goes Nexus turret number 1, Nexus turret number 2 to follow, and a 3rd Nexus for KT to claim will get them their first match win of LCK 2025.
That sigh of relief from BDD, that's got to be turned into some kind of emote.
Oh, it's so good. I want that as like my notification sound on my phone.
Both the one that was heard initially, you know, and then the one at the very end as they killed the Nexus, because there was another one, I could see it in the cams.
Yep.
As KT took a little bit of time, and for B&K, third game was rough, but the first 2 games show that I think these 2 teams right now are in pretty similar places. When they're winning, they look good. When they're playing from behind, seemingly just a little bit harder.
Yeah, and I think there's certainly some polish that's going to be required As Casting's like, thanks, Cuz, for that one. But Casting having probably his best day that we've ever seen from him on the LCK stage.
Oh,
As Cuz, we know that.
undoubtedly.
Oh, wait, there it is. Okay. I thought he wasn't going to give it to us. Holding out. But no, not going to be the case this time around. As KT fans going to be happy this time as BDD, the man with the sore back, looking a little bit sheepish. As he had a phenomenal game. Phenomenal day, as per usual. I mean, it's BDD. But you can see the rest of the team going on over to Casting to
you know why
congratulate
he's
him.
smiling? It's because he won that 1v1.
Yeah. And actually, his Ash game was very good.
It was.
Wasn't really about product, though. As Peter, he's my POM by a country mile.
So happy he's back. And Diablo, still, stand-up performance here today. I don't think anyone's opinion is going to change of BNK. I think at times, this roster just looks like you're firing on all cylinders. The team fighting is great. There's a consistency, which is an issue. And I'm not even going to say that about KT, because we all know that.
Yeah.
That is kind of what they do.
And I think their motto this season is like striving for consistency or something like that. They always talk about it.
Why do you even do that to yourself?
Well, this is the thing, and they know that it's their biggest problem. And the org has always had issues with it, but not in this game. This game was just domination from go to woe. As BDD so good at skirting around these heroic entrances. Does get slept this time around though, so it does go down.
Peter coming back after a little bit more time in Challengers, when he was obviously in the LCK for a good amount of time. He was always solid, but never that crazy. I really think we're starting to see him slowly level up more and more. Now he is definitely still been a support that's win more, right?
Yeah.
I think that we saw in that Alistair game that once things start falling apart on the map, he still isn't quite there. But still, what a glow-up for a player that I think we're all happy just because he's so lovable to have him back in the LCK. But in the wins of KT, BDD has obviously been the #1 that we talk about for very good reason. But his impact on this team and the impact he's had since he's come back to the LCK cannot be overstated. Like, that call-up, I think, goes crazy hard.
Yep. And this was Kellen's early death in this team fight, as I think we were denied an ace because he respawned a little bit too fast. But this two-man sleep, I think that was a large reason why KT just realized they could go in. This double knockup from Casting, absolutely gorgeous. But look at Peter. He finds the bullet timing Diablo in the backline with a flash cocoon, and he's surrounded by the rest of his teammates.
You know you have a good game when Atlas is like seriously considering not voting for BDD, but for you instead. That's how you know that you had a banger.
I don't know, voting for Peter is so easy, isn't it? I mean, he's just so lovable.
It is, I know. You know, if Veldis was here, he would have grabbed the paper out of my hand.
Oh, yeah.
Put in the Peter vote.
He would have. He would have. The biggest Peter fan that we have.
Yeah. And that's hard, because he's a challenger player. But Veldis outdoes me 10 out of 10 times when it comes to Peter. And for BNK, again, I think that the fact that they're able to so consistently get game wins, I'm actually so much more optimistic about this roster. I think that they're slowly starting to come together. Diablo, very clearly a player that I hope goes the way of someone like Giu, right? Where he just goes from just being a... as the crowd goes completely ballistic. Where he goes from being a win con every other game to just being consistently as good as we know he can be.
Yep. BDD going to steal the POM from Peter, but obviously it's okay. I mean, it's okay. 11 out of 13, and the other two only went to Cuz. Peter, my boy. Come on, chat. Do you agree? Because Super Chizik did not agree. Oh. Okay, so Padak did have a great game, and we will get to hear from him as well in a moment.
With these interviews, man.
Yeah, and actually thinking about interviews makes me very happy that BDD is the one that's standing alongside to have a chat with us as well. So let's throw it over to him now.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Dear for the POM interview translation, joined by BDD on the side of KT Rolster. Congratulations! You finally earned your first win. How do you feel? No, we had to win today's match, and I'm just really relieved that we were able to win. And in this series of losses, you worked so hard, both personally and as a team, according to an interview. So what approach approach did you have for today's match? We hadn't had enough practice with the current roster. And I think practice did go well, but it didn't really reflect how we did on stage and on the official matches. So that was what really left a lot to be desired. And what was challenging about playing against BNK PRX today? There were some moments where you had to wait until you find the right moment to actually make gameplays and actually create some moments where you can actually have some action in game. And what kind of feedback did you get after game 2? I think we mainly focused on talking about the draft instead of the actual in-game happenings. So in game 3, you got your early game solo kill, and we noticed how bright you looked after getting that solo kill. So what crossed your mind in that moment? During the laning phase, I just kept thinking about how we just cannot lose. So I think that's why I was so happy when I got the solo kill.
이렇게 해서 첫 신고에 성공을 하셨습니다. 정말 많은 팬분들이 기다리셨을 순간일 텐데 이제 연승을 노리실 것 같거든요.
So many of your fans have been waiting for this moment for this first win. And next, you will play against OK Savings Big Brion. What resolution do you have? I think we're really having an optimistic mindset, so I hope that you guys can continue supporting us. Thank you so much. And that's the end of the interview with BDD, and back to the space. Thank you.